Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are here once again on a special stream, not a market open, not a market close, but the Robinhood Legend Awakens live event that is going to be happening in about 22 minutes. It is 3:35 a.m. here in India, 3:38, and so the event will be starting at 4 a.m. live my time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired as hell. We just got through a 6-hour traffic-filled car ride, came back. I barely slept, but I'm up. I think I slept for like the last 30 minutes. I actually woke up and I was super scared. I was like, oh my God, did I miss it? Did I sleep through this? And then I woke up and I was like, all right, we're back. We're good to go. So we're here. I can't talk super loud. I can't have super too much energy just because people are sleeping here at my grandparents' house, not at the hotel. So I'm going to try to keep the volume down a little bit. But we couldn't miss this one. So we had to go live for this, and we're going to talk through over the next 20 minutes. I'm going to be having a guest joining me in about 5 minutes, and a guest that you guys know well, a guest that's also been covering the Robinhood thesis with me over the past basically year and a half now. So he'll be joining me, and we will check out the event. First of all, let's just talk for a little bit before we get into it. I'm sorry, I've been gone. It's just I just haven't been able to stream. I just haven't been able to do it. The last stream I did was the Tesla Robotaxi event. That was on Thursday night because Tesla had it in the night. And then Friday, couldn't do the open or close. Then we got Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, today is Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday. So we went to Jaipur. I put this short on YouTube of me like chilling with some cows that were walking on the street. I thought I would be able to do at least the market close at this resort that we went to in Jaipur, which is in the state of Rajasthan. And just have not been able, just wasn't able to do it at all. So I'm really sorry about that, but we're back. I will be able to do the market open today, which is tomorrow and Friday. So Thursday and Friday. And then we'll be back on Monday, back to normal. So we'll be back after a couple day break or a couple week break, even though we've been able to do some days here and there, and get things moving. I've been getting a lot of messages. I've been seeing all the messages, tons of DMs of, hey, like, where are you? When are you coming back? So I'm sorry about that. I miss it just as much as you guys miss it. It definitely takes my day and messes up my schedule as well. But, family is always first. So this was the only kind of 2-week version of going to India where this could work because we weren't able to go in the summer. So happy that we were able to do that. And now it's time to get things moving as we get back to the States when I'll be back on the 21st. But thank you everybody for keeping up with the channel. This is going to be a fun event to stream and check out. Market open, market close should be back to normal. But yeah, I've been missing the stream. I've been missing YouTube. This is the first break I've taken up YouTube, which is basically 7 days, basically a week in the past 2 years. So for me, this is also uncharted territories in terms of what it feels like to just take a break. But yeah, it's what we had to do, and now we'll be back, and it'll be exciting to get things back in motion. Thank you guys for being here. Mateo, Inbound, Lewis, Chris, Alejandro, Nate, Brian, Brandon, Jason. What's up? Still no break from Twitter. Yes, I haven't taken a break from Twitter. So if you've been following along on Twitter, I've been there on Twitter, live tweeting pretty much everything. Twitter is weird though, because it's like the market opens at 7 p.m. for me. So when I'm tweeting at 7 p.m., it's like you guys are kind of just waking up. And then when I go to sleep and wake up, it's like 10 p.m. for you guys, at least on the eastern part of the coast in the States. So it's been weird adjusting to the time standards, but I think it's been okay. There's been plenty of news over the past couple of weeks, so there's been a lot of stuff. Just haven't been able to actually do the stream itself. And so we will be back in definitely tomorrow, and then next week we will officially be back into action. David says, admit we need you back in the States because Palantir is struggling without you. It's so funny. I was talking with Arnie this morning. Palantir goes down to $40 after doing this crazy run from 25 to 44. And now everyone's like, oh my God, it's a bubble. So we'll talk about that tomorrow as well in the market open. We'll discuss more about Palantir and all that stuff. So thank you everybody for being here. We got a lot to talk about on this event. This is going to be a big event, and it'll determine the trajectory for Robinhood as well, as the stock has obviously done very well. Robinhood stock, I think we had a high of like 2740 or something 26.93. 25 was my end of year price target over the past month. We are up 21% and we are closing in on that $27 range. I think this event is going to be very important. I think this event, honestly, I to be objective here, I think this could be a sell the news, but I also think this could be a, oh my goodness, Robinhood's really coming for the entire financial services market for the millennial Gen Z generation, which is going to be a massive generation that benefits from the wealth transfer. So I think I think the range is 25 to 28 today. I think if it's a sell the news, we head to 25, maybe 24.50 if it's a violent sell the news. If it's a buy the news, which the Robinhood Gold event was back in March of 2024, the New York event that I was at, the gold event, then which we spiked up that event, then I think we could head to 28. So I'm not sure how the street will react to it. We'll see kind of what happens as the event unfolds, and we'll have to talk about and analyze. But I think 25 to 28 is going to be the range, and we're going to discuss that and keep going from there. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Michelle, I was still waiting on a wedding fit because I need to know people go all out. I need to see. Yeah, I'll post a bunch of content, and I'll show once I get back to the States. I will share everything that I've been able to do here. I just haven't been able to share because I haven't been able to be on the computer over the past couple of days. But I'll be back on the States on the 21st. So really 4 days, a couple more days left, and then we're back to regularly scheduled programming on the channel, and things will be back to normal. Victor, why haven't you been streaming the market open? Dude, again, it's tough for me as well. This is the first time I've actually taken like a break, like a real break. I've been streaming the market open, the market close since January 2024. I mean, with like maybe 2 or 3 days off from traveling, and that's it. So this has been kind of like a weird situation for me. But again, this was a very inconvenient time to go to India. The reason I went is because my grandparents are getting old. And I realized, it's either now or never. It's been 5 years since going to India. So it was time to do it. It would have been inconvenient at any time to do it. October was just a very inconvenient moment with all the stuff going on, all the events. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And to be honest, I'm happy I came in October because the rest of the family got to come. So we got to have that kind of core family celebration. And also the weather is not bad, dude. Like usually when I go in July, the weather is like ridiculous. Now the weather is actually reasonable in October. And it's been pretty fun to enjoy time here with family. All right, let's bring up a guest to help me analyze what's going on with Robinhood, someone who's been analyzing Robinhood for the past couple of years with me. Ladies and gentlemen, we have someone else who's up early in the morning, all the way from Italia. Arnie, what's up?
Yo. I don't know why you don't see me, but I see myself in the small town. I'm here. I promise.
You want to refresh and rejoin? I'll get you on in like 2 minutes. Yeah. You can refresh. All right. Yeah, Arnie was good a couple minutes ago, but his camera's being a little weird. Dave Hansen. Dave, what's up? Thank you, Dave, for being part of the channel as well and being part of the stream. This is going to be an exciting one. This is going to be a really, really exciting one. And we'll have a lot to analyze with what's going to go on with Robinhood. Ahmed says, Amit, my commute to work has been terrible without the market open. It shows how much you've affected our daily lives. Enjoy the trip and have a safe trip back to the US. One thing I will say is the message that Ahmed has on the screen, and thank you, Ahmed, for this message. I've gotten like 30, 40 times by a bunch of people in my DMs. And it is one of those things that helps you as a creator at least realize that you are starting to have product market fit, right? So product market fit is this idea that, hey, you have a product, it's within a market. And I mean, I think the sort of Silicon Valley definition of product market fit coined by Mark Andreessen, which is one of the best venture capitalists in the world, is you have product market fit when people are willing to pay for the product, right? They can't imagine their life without the product. So in this case, it's not paying with your money, but it's paying with your time, right? Your attention to the streams. And the fact that so many people are saying like, hey, like my morning just isn't the same. This is like kind of annoying me because I depend on this in the morning or the afternoon. It's just not there. It's seeming to be that the market open, market close has product market fit, which is very good because to scale this, to vast numbers, you got to have product market fit in the early stages. And so if anything, the one silver lining of not being able to do the stream is letting me know that people actually really want the content, which is great because that means, there is some demand and we can keep innovating on that demand and keep going further. All right. Arnie, There you go. You're here.
Don't you feel guilty of leaving all your thousands of followers without a market open and without a market close. Like the market feels so empty.
Yeah, dude, it is a feeling of guilt. That is also because like there is a kind of part of me when I'm getting all these messages of people relying on a certain type of content. I have tried, I'm not gonna lie, watching other people's market open, just like you guys have, and cheating on my own market open stream. And I the one thing about this is it's been introspective because it's made me realize, look, I'm not the best content creator in the world, but when you look at some of the alternatives, you're like, okay, so there's parts of what I do that are actually structured. They make sense. They're more objective. They're, it is orchestrating a product that is meaningful in people's lives for 2 hours in the morning and the afternoon when you see the competition. Because I usually don't consume other people's market opens, right? But over the past week I have. And I'm like, oh, this is why people might be choosing me over other people, So at least it's been introspective for me, but I don't want to take a break again, dude. It's tough to not.
I never searched for another alternative. There is no alternative.
Yeah. Artie, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here. What do you expect from this Robinhood event? What do you think we're going to get?
Thank you for having me here. Look, the story with Robinhood is very exciting. We saw that from last year where the story was completely different. Robinhood is just a degenerate trading app that will never go anywhere. It is collapsing because people are hating it that. But it turns out that in just 1 year, the narrative completely changed. And now people inside the app, outside the app actually love that. And now they're launching this event that could potentially surprise even the most skeptical guys. Because what's the current big data point that the company has? Oh, yes, you have been able to capture the interest of retail investors. But are you able also to capture the interest of sophisticated traders? And that's, from my understanding, what the company is actually willing to take on. And I think we will see some new stuff coming on today that could be a bet on Robinhood taking share into the professional trader segment. Now, there are a lot of traders, but when we think of professional traders, we mean more sophisticated guys. I think of Jesse. We all know him. He's very good. He has a big portfolio, but wait a second. Why he's not using Robinhood? Why he's using other brokers that I don't know why? Why when he shows his charts, they're not made in Robinhood? These are the critical questions that Robinhood as a company needs to answer if they really want to engage with retail investors, not only the starters, but also the ones that maybe using Robinhood as the training ground now become professionals. And even someone like you that covers the company maniacally, but it turns out that you don't really have a way to show what you really want to show with the current products. So there is, despite the company has completely flipped, and now people accept that Robinhood is the good company that we were able to see already from last year, there is still this big gap that from a corporate perspective is okay to have, but it must be addressed. And I think the company now really wants to address. What do you expect?
I agree with everything you said. I think the average account balance on Robinhood, I think, is like $10,000 or something. And if you look at Interactive Brokers or Fidelity or Schwab, it's in the six figures. And so they need to get a lot of bigger accounts onto the platform. The way to do that is to introduce tools that bigger accounts like. And they've started that with slashing margin rates. They've started that with introducing different features in regards to options and how they've kind of innovated on the spreads and the fills of options and just like the user interface of making options more friendlier. But like actual advanced traders, people that are, placing 30, 40 different trades a day and need very specific, unique tools, they don't have any product like that. And I think that's what today is going to be about. The thing about Robinhood is that the event is literally called The Legend Awakens. And so if they're calling it the event, The Legend Awakens, and they're saying, check out Robinhood's new legendary products, they're kind of putting a target on their back to the public of like, hey, we've got legendary products. I mean, legendary is a hell of a word, right? When you say legendary products,
I mean, or you shock the world or you don't.
Yeah, like you're basically saying, hey, we've got the goods and you guys are really going to be excited about what we show off. And if they don't live up to that, which is always a risk with, I mean, we saw Tesla, like Robotaxi event was cool, but it was just light on details, which is why the stock fell 10%. So it's one of those things where I think Robinhood is going to deliver on their promise because they have the momentum. They are capitalizing on the momentum and they've been working on these products for a year. And so I think they're kind of ready to roll them out and show them to the world. But it's going to be one of those things that we're going to have to see how the broader market interprets them. We do have something going on called Hood Week. So now, I mean, this is pretty incredible. For the next 9 days or 11 days, you can transfer an account into Robinhood. A Roth IRA can get you a 3% bonus. So if you have $1 million in your retirement, you'll get $30,000 up front. If you have an individual account with, like, let's say $1 million, you can get a 2% bonus, which would be $20,000. If you have $10,000 in margin with that account, at least 10,000. What that means, I think, is really smart, is that margin has grown more than 20% in terms of their margin balances over the past 90 days. So they're finding ways to make money on margin balances, which is an emerging opportunity for them by getting bigger accounts. Bigger accounts tend to use more margin. And so they're saying, hey, if you have at least $10,000 in margin, which $10,000 is not a lot of margin, but they're just trying to find the people that aren't just buying and holding, but are actively trading. And if you're actively trading, you're likely using margin. And they're giving you that 2% incentive and the lowest rates in the industry outside of IBKR, which is like 0.25% lower than them, but half of what Schwab and Fidelity are offering to come to Robinhood. And I think the unit economics on this, if they are successful on this, they're probably going to roll this out in a much more broader way, the way they've done the 1% ACATS match, and they're giving you a 3%. Or I think a 2% match if you have a joint account. So what do you think of these matches? And do you think this is just another step of their innovative unit economics to bring people onto the platform?
You know, it is a long time that when we discuss about Robinhood, the metrics, people are rushing to the conclusion, oh, if we're giving 2% away, it means that we're losing money, without really considering the secondary, third order consequences, where if you are actually so happy of using the platform, you are literally can't wait to use the platform more. And since you trust more someone that gives you a good experience, gives you some money back, then the next time you have like additional 5K, 10K, or even more, you're even more happy to bring even more money to the platform. And that creates powerful feedback loop, because then a happy customer then is happy to refer the stuff to the audience, to the friends, and so on. But I joined the stream with the premise that you are the expert and I make the question. And I have a crucial question for you before the stream starts, which is, if there is one thing that would make you very excited from the event, what would be?
It's a good question. I have a lot of conspiracy theories about what they're going to announce. They have a bunch of speakers at these events, and these speakers are from really different parts of life. And I've been kind of trying to figure out, why do they have these speakers in particular at the event? I think the wild card here is some type of sports betting / startup secondaries trading platform, something out of the blue that no one's expecting. I mean, that to me would be kind of legendary, right? Not just the stuff that we know, index options, future trading, advanced traders platform for the desktop, but something that's like the market's just not expecting, which is an entire new vertical that would add this entire new level of what it means to be investing in Robinhood, maybe even broadening the category from stocks. So I don't know. There are some startup speakers speaking. Maybe they're just like sponsored by the event or whatever, and that's why they're speaking. There are some sports betting connections to the event. I have no idea what to expect, but something like that, I think, would get the market to be like, holy crap, they're going for it. Which brings us to the investor day. I think last week when Robinhood jumped up to 25, it's because they announced, hey, they're doing an investor day in New York on December 4th or December 5th. And to me, I interpret that as they're becoming a mature company. You don't have investor days where you actually talk in person to your investors outside of the earnings calls and answer tough questions from them if you're not confident about your future. And I think they feel really freaking confident about their future. And the fact that this is their second event that they're hosting in 1 year, I mean, it's just quite incredible to see what they're doing here. So that's what I'm expecting.
So you are expecting, like, as a potential wild card that they take out some like a platform similar to those that make you bet who wins the presidential campaign.
Yeah, something like that, something that we just haven't heard about, right? And I don't think that's going to happen. Let me be clear, but that would be something that is super crazy. What I would really like to see is an advanced trading platform where people that I know that have 7-figure balances are like, I need to transfer to Robinhood immediately. I mean, imagine they announce a platform so amazing that people with 7-figure balances today transfer out, get a 2% match because they probably have a $10,000 margin balance. The net deposits are going to be insane for October if that happens. And you're going to have the market being like, well, more deposits, more trading volumes, more margin balance, more assets under custody. Why are we not buying the stock? Right. And like, I think that's what creates the real momentum in terms of the stock, even though it's already had momentum. So the platform has to be so amazing that people that you and I know are immediately deciding to go to Robinhood. But the wild card is one of those verticals that, you know, we just haven't thought of that they introduced as well.
I was not thinking like a so wild stuff. I would be already very, very.
I think we're starting, Arnie. Are we starting? Yeah, we're starting. All right, there we go. Legend Awakens, folks. It's time. Here's Vlad.
All right. Wow, look at that crowd. I want to welcome you all to the first ever Hood Summit. Before we get going, I really wanted to send our thoughts to everyone impacted by the hurricane. We are in Florida, and we're happy that all of you were able to get here safely. And thank you all for coming. So this is an important moment for us because this is the first and biggest event we've ever held for traders. And traders are really at the heart of what we do. It's no exaggeration to say that our first product changed the trading world. And hopefully today you're going to see that this was just the beginning. So who here uses Robinhood to trade? All right, we invited the right people. It is a Robinhood event after all. Now here's a tougher question. Who here is dissatisfied with the Robinhood experience and thinks it could be way better? Okay, a few people. Thank you for your honesty. Okay, I actually agree with you. And I think it's about time Robinhood levels up in one important area. So in our gold keynote back in March, I began by showing some quotes praising Robinhood for all the things that we've been doing well. So I wanted to try something a little different today. Let's look at some quotes about things Robinhood's been doing poorly. Okay, there are some of those on the internet.
Such a good idea.
Here's one from Investopedia. Robinhood's limitations are a recurring challenge for advanced traders. We've got a Reddit one too. If you are insisting on using Robinhood, your options are incredibly limited. Some of the best and most common strategies are used on futures and indices, which you can't trade on Robinhood. Dang. Okay, so I won't go through all of these. Well, maybe just one more. Let's see, Timothy Truman on X. LOL, you use Robinhood charts to track prices. They have some of the worst charts out there. Tell me you know nothing about trading without telling me you know nothing about trading. So it might be a little harsh, but I think the critics have a point, and I think you'll see that today's announcements will change all of that. So because this keynote, it's really the culmination of 2 years of work and a change in our thinking. You see, in 2022, we discovered we had a little bit of a problem. While we were really great at helping new investors get started, a lot of our new investors became active traders. They became a little bit more sophisticated. And the more often someone was trading on Robinhood, the less happy they were with our platform. So our most active traders, who should be our most loyal users, began looking for alternatives. They wanted more advanced tools, better charting, more assets. But they soon discovered that none of the alternatives really met their needs either. They loved using Robinhood. They loved the ease of use. They loved the pricing. Maybe some of you resonate with that. And they just wished we would meet their needs. So 2 years ago, We changed our focus. We mobilized our company and put our most hardcore people to the task of making Robinhood the best, most innovative platform for active traders on the market today. So we've already been making some significant strides. Hopefully you've noticed some of them. And before we get to the new stuff, we've got some big announcements. I wanted to recap some of the things we've already delivered this year for active traders. So the first thing are margin rates. Earlier this year, we reduced our margin rates to the lowest among leading brokerages. Any margin traders? Yeah, this was a popular change. We weren't super competitive before. Now we're industry leading. We've also massively upgraded the trading experience at Robinhood, including the addition of a new tool called Option Simulated Returns. Now, this tool, if you're an options trader, you probably already know about. Almost 1 million of our options traders have used this feature to find a proper exit point for their trades. Third, and this starts next week, you'll be able to monitor your realized profit and loss, realized P&L directly in the Robinhood app.
Finally, here we go.
Simple but popular feature, so you can see how you're performing on every single trade. This was highly requested, and it's also the first step towards full tax lot management in the app, which is also coming later this year. I know we have a lot of tax lot management fans, so we've been working hard on that one. Okay, one more thing. A lot of our traders have grown up. Many of you have families, and you'd like to share your finances with them. So we added joint investing accounts. And now, when we talk to a lot of our traders, some of them wanted their partners to be able to keep tabs on their trading. Some of our traders did not want that. So it's optional, okay? All right, and finally, and even more importantly, we realized something was broken in the industry, something that dated back to 1887. That was the year the New York Stock Exchange first created fixed trading hours. They were open from 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And ever since then, it's been pretty much the same for over 130 years. So last year, we became the first US retail brokerage to offer 24-hour trading of single name stocks. You can now, have you guys used that? You can now trade more than 1,000 symbols on Robinhood 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And clearly our customers are loving it. Since we launched last year, over 30 billion in volume has been executed in just the overnight session. Okay, now let's move on to the new stuff. So today, I'm excited to announce not just the addition of one, but two of the most in-demand trading products to Robinhood. The first one is index options. So we're launching index options. So you guys probably know about them. Index options are one of the most actively traded derivatives in the market right now. And when we talk to some of our more experienced users, they ask for them because, unlike individual options, index options allow you to track the performance of an entire market or sector. So they're a really great way to track and take advantage of broad market movements around the clock. Also, because they're cash settled, you can hold them to the close without worrying about things like position sellouts. So index options, they're rolling out in the coming months with the two things you've come to expect from us: great UX and some of the lowest pricing among leading brokerages. Plus, extended trading hours will come to index options next year as well. And now, the other major asset class. The other major asset class is something that our core users have been asking for a long time. Maybe you can guess what it is. There's a little bit of a hint behind me. Yes, futures are coming to Robinhood.
Futures are here, folks.
right, so we're going to show them to you. But before, I want to talk a little bit about how we built this. So since we launched 24-hour market last year, we've really built the capability of operating a 24-hour trading system. And this really informed how we designed the product. Futures trade around the clock as well. And we built a brand new interface designed specifically for this asset class. So the asset class responds very quickly to news and events in real time. We're excited to show it to you. So behind me is the Robinhood ladder. And I think you'll see that it works very well, maybe a bit too well. Ever since we've been testing it internally, we've noticed this interesting phenomenon where some of the advanced traders in our company have been trading during meetings and not paying much attention. So I'd like to introduce the biggest culprit, our Chief Brokerage Officer, Steve Quirk, and the lead on this project, Grace Chi, and they're going to show you how the ladder works.
All right, here we go. Robinhood stock, by the way, guys, is $28.25. It's up about 5% after hours right now.
Killing it, by the way.
Well, thanks, Vlad. And by the way, this is quite a energetic crowd. Welcome and thank you for coming. So I'm going to openly admit I am very passionate about the market. We have quite a few people here that are very passionate about it. And when we're building something and we can see the benefits that are going to come to retail traders, we get excited. So yes, am I the leader in the clubhouse on alpha testing, beta testing, all levels of testing? Yes, but we think you're really going to like what you're going to see here. So before Grace and I get started, this is going to be an audience participation session. We got a nice, energetic audience, so let's put this to work. I'm going to ask a question, and by the way, everybody know that we have an election coming up? Yeah, we're all cognizant of that. Yeah, I think it's hard to avoid being aware of that. Here's my question. In the 2016 election, was there anybody active in the market, either actively investing, trading, or just monitoring the market as that election was on? Yes, okay. So we have quite a few people, but I also see some people who don't look voting age at that point in time. So I'm going to give you a reminder of what happened that evening. As the results started to trickle in, the market was reacting pretty poorly. And then it started reacting even more poorly, and we actually hit some limits, so they were halting the market because it was dropping so quickly. And that happened throughout the evening. At one point, we were down almost 6% in the broad-based market. But by the time we opened the next morning, we were up 1%. So everybody in here is, I watched your hands go up when Vlad asked if you're Robinhood users. So you're all investors and traders. A 7% move in a month, in a quarter, in a year, decent. In a 12-hour session, it's pretty remarkable, right? There was only one asset class trading during that evening. It was futures. And so you could take advantage of that, or you could hedge your portfolio, you could be opportunistic with one asset class. And that's what we're delivering to you today, so that you can take advantage of market-moving news 24/5. So with that, Grace and I are going to walk you through what's rolling out today.
Perfect. Thanks, Q. So really excited to show you guys how the futures experience was brought into the Robinhood app. So this is really your starting point, and you'll see that at launch, we'll have 36 diverse products across stock indices, crypto, energy, metals, and currency.
I told you this is... You should expect to see more rolling out over time as well. But this is a very good starting point. You have pretty much everything covered. I told you this is going to be an audience participation session. We're going to, guess what? Futures are trading right now. So we're going to actually show you how this works. But I need a volunteer to help me decide what we're going to trade. Yes?
Oh, this is going to be cool.
Okay. I'm pointing over there. S&P. The S&P. Okay.
Sounds good. S&P, let's trade the SPOOs. So I'm going
Sorry.
to go ahead and pull up the chart, and okay, it's gone up and it came back down a little bit today. And Q, normally I go to you for trading advice, but you haven't been doing too hot recently.
Grace, do you really have to be telling everybody? She's been watching all my trading, and now you all know how well I've been doing. Thanks for exposing that in front of 300,000 of our best friends.
Got to be honest sometimes. So I'm going to go back to the audience member that I can't really see. Given everything that's happening in the market right now, are you feeling bullish or bearish about the S&P?
What was your name? Sorry. Shri.
Shri, are you feeling bullish or bearish? Bearish now. All right, let's do it.
Was it something we said?
I don't know. Well, since everyone here uses Robinhood, you already know how to trade, but I'm excited to show you a brand new way to trade via the trading ladder. So before I get that popped up on the screen, this is going to be the fastest way for you to understand where the market's trading at right now and for you to decide whether you want to take an action. This tool actually started off as a tool built by the exchange for the institutional trader on the desktop. And in true Robinhood fashion, we have reimagined it for mobile for the retail trader. So I'm gonna bring that right up. So here's a ladder, and you can see that the current price is moving around. You'll see the bids, you'll see the asks. And when I say this thing is fast, you can get into the market by just buying or selling with the buttons at the bottom. But knowing the folks here, you guys are, more advanced traders, and we know that typically folks have a price level they want to get in at. So since I'm feeling, you said bearish, I can get in at, let's say, a price that's a little lower than the market, since I think it might come down. I can tap on the price and tap buy. And your working order is in the market right now.
Do you notice she's buying even though you said bearish? She's very optimistic.
I have twisted that a little bit. But let's say I want to get a little bit more aggressive with price. I can change the price easily by just dragging, and dropping. And let's say we want to get this thing filled because they're going to get mad at me for taking too long. So I'm going to drag and drop it to the current price. And my order just filled.
Drag and drop. Wow.
So let's say at this point, if I'm feeling good about this trade, I can easily take profit. And the best way to take profit is actually you can switch from this price level view to a P&L view. And let's say that you want to take profit at $10. I can do that easily by just tap and tap.
So
simple but nice.
So I started by describing a situation where the market was moving rather quickly around the election. There are events that happen around the clock that move the market. And one of the things that's very important is, being able, if you're in a position or you're working some orders, being able to get out of those really quickly if you need to. And so can you walk us through that? Because I think it's an important piece of functionality.
Yeah, definitely. So there's two ways you can get out. The first is you can manually swipe your working orders off and you just canceled a working order. But let's say the market's really moving and you just want to get out. You can do that by the exit and cancel all button. And this one, Q, we actually built specifically for you, given how you've been trading.
Looks like we might be making money here, though. I don't know.
So unfortunately, that was a flat trade, but you could have made money.
So we want to thank you for taking this journey with us. We're going to have 3 more sessions over the course of the next 2 days with the people that built this offering and a couple industry professionals, futures industry professionals that'll talk to us about the asset class in general. But I want to conclude by saying, I've been trading for a very long time and used a lot of different offerings and apps, and I'm telling you, this is world class. And just the idea that we can deliver something so that you can all, in the palm of your hand, have access to the market, have a comprehensive understanding of what's happening around the clock, hedge risk, or take advantage of opportunities. It's pretty magical, and we look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to Vlad.
Thank you, Grace. Thanks, Q. What do you guys think of the ladder? I think you're really going to like it. We've enjoyed building it. It's very tactile, very intuitive. It's just you and the order book. And we're already planning to bring it to more assets that you can trade. So we're looking into getting it for stocks, options, and crypto trading as well. So rollout of futures. We're looking to roll out futures in the coming months. So you'll see that soon. And we're also working on a surprise for the rollout. So stay tuned to hear about that, perhaps as soon as in the next couple of weeks. Before we move on, let me cover pricing. So we cared about two things when we think about the pricing. One, we wanted to keep it industry leading. We also wanted it to be simple. So when we look at where the market is, our competitors charge anywhere from $150 to $225 per contract. And on top of this, they add mandatory market data subscription fees. So it can be quite complex and also a lot. So Robinhood pricing. For futures, it'll be just 50 cents a contract for our gold subscribers. And 75 cents for non-gold. So hopefully we've kept our promise there. Finally, if you're ready, I want to share a story with you today, a legend, if you will. Let's go back in time to 1980. The financial services world is dominated by ancient, slow-moving institutions like Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley. They guard the gates to the markets, allowing access only to the wealthy, charging commissions in the hundreds of dollars per trade. But meanwhile, in Palo Alto, California, a physicist named Bill Porter has just bought an Apple II computer and gets an idea. What if he could use it to trade stocks from his home? At a party, he meets a computer programmer named Bernie Newcomb, and together they create a company to pursue this idea. 3 years of hard work later, a dentist in Michigan turns on his computer, connects to the CompuServe network through dial-up, and makes the first electronic trade using Porter and Newcomb's software, which will one day become E-Trade. The electronic trading revolution has begun. Now, as the years pass, millions of people begin trading from their personal computers through upstarts like E-Trade, Thinkorswim, and Options Express. This movement of free independent traders sends the legacy financial companies into a tailspin. Threatened by the trading revolution, the gatekeepers reach for the only defense they have, their checkbooks. In a desperate plea to stay relevant in the changing financial order, they begin buying any company that offers electronic trading to retail consumers. The year is now 2024. The feeding frenzy is complete. Options Express has been gobbled up by Charles Schwab. Thinkorswim has been consumed by TD Ameritrade, which in turn is consumed by Charles Schwab. Even E-Trade has been bought up by Morgan Stanley. The innovators that created change have been fully absorbed into the institutions that resist change, and their customers merely turned into new leads for high-fee wealth management services. Tens of millions of independent traders watch in horror as their accounts are force migrated, their services diminish, the platforms they loved put on the back burner. After a battle of nearly half a century, all appears to be lost as independent traders find themselves trapped once more in the very system they were trying to escape by the very corporations that don't want them to exist. Who will stand in the way of the old guard dragging the world back into the dark ages of trading?
Here we go, folks. Oh, this is about to look sexy. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, it does look pretty elite. We gotta obviously explore the platform, but just on that first glance, it looks pretty sexy.
All right. I'm excited to introduce you today to Robinhood Legend, our new state-of-the-art desktop platform built from the ground up just for active traders. So, we're going to have a little fun with this in a sec. Okay. When we talked to our most passionate traders, they had a few things they cared a lot about, including speed, stability, customization. Now, they were also tired of paying outside services to get things like analysis, charts. They wanted the charts right where they traded for free. So we reimagined what an active trader platform on desktop would look like today if we built it with the latest technology and the best charts. And now, I'd like to introduce Abhishek Fatehpuria, our Senior Director of Product, one of the legends behind Robinhood Legend, and he's going to demo it for us.
All right.
How you doing?
Thanks, Vlad. And look at this crowd. This crowd's amazing. I'm really excited about Robinhood Legend, and I'm excited to give you a sneak peek today. So in the past, to use an advanced trading platform, you needed to really get trained on it. It would take hours to set up and weeks to get used to. So one of our goals with Robinhood Legend was to build an experience where you can log in, customize the trading platform you want, and get to your first trade in under a few minutes. All inside of a browser, no downloading required, no installing required. So I could show you how easy it is, but I've been using Robinhood Legend for months now, so you might not believe me. So we're gonna try something a little bit different, and we actually have a special guest here, Vlad's dad, who has never seen Legend before yesterday, and he is going to help us with a demo. So come on up, Mr. Tenev.
All right. Hey,
This is gonna be cool.
hi. Hi.
You know those emails you guys got inviting you to come to this event? So my dad received one of these, and he calls me and he said, "Hey, I got an email from Robinhood. Should I go to this thing?"
That's true.
So
That's true.
sounds like you're a pretty active Robinhood user.
Well, I've been a long-standing customer, and I've been enjoying the ease and the intuitive features of the platform. So I hope to see something like that.
We're glad to have you as part of the community. So why don't we step up and look at Robinhood Legend? So we have an empty setup here, and we're just going to get started by building a layout. Why don't we start by adding a watch list?
All right.
Super easy, right? Let's keep going. Let's add a chart so that we can look at some prices.
All right.
And then let's maybe finish this layout out with recent orders and positions, maybe. There's a lot of trading activity in this account.
You can add widgets and customize.
Cool, and we got a full layout, guys.
Okay.
Oh my god, dude.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
So before I let you go, I actually do want to place a trade. And it's extended hours right now, so we can trade. So why don't you pick a stock that we're going to place a trade for?
All right. How about this one? Okay, Caterpillar.
Have you already done some research on this stock?
I know a little bit. I'm a believer in American infrastructure, which I hope something happens to.
We all love American infrastructure. So this is not a trade recommendation,
That's it, yes.
but we're going to go ahead and place a trade anyways. So why don't we go ahead and buy Caterpillar?
Okay.
I also love the ticker.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. Let's click here. All right.
And we've got a fill.
Something happened.
So a round of applause. I think we got a fill.
Okay.
And then
Thank
we
you.
also, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Give a round of applause for Mr. Tenev, everyone. How do you do, Vlad?
Not bad. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, we'll check in on the trade tomorrow. So why don't we talk about charts? So when we were building Robinhood Legend, charts were really important to us. one thing we learned really quickly when we were building this platform was that many of you, not only do you spend hours on charts, many of you pay hundreds of dollars on outside platforms for charts that aren't even on your brokerage. And we didn't think that was cool. So on Robinhood Legend, our goal was to build high-performance charting that gives you everything you need all inside the trading platform at no additional cost. So let's dive in.
Trading.
I'm going to start by creating one of our templates, one of my favorite templates, called the Chart Spotlight. So we'll get a watch list and a chart so that we can look at a bigger chart. So the first thing I'm going to do is zoom out. Really cool animations.
Look at how
Dude,
fast
this
that
looks
is.
incredible.
And then let's add a few technical indicators from the menu up here. So we'll add a few simple moving averages. We'll add an RSI.
Oh my gosh.
Vlad, do you have any favorites?
Why don't you add the show them the Ichimoku cloud?
Yeah,
That's my personal favorite.
I know that's your favorite. I don't know if there's any Ichimoku cloud users out there, but oh, looks like we have one.
It's a lesser known indicator.
Yeah. So next, we're gonna go and find an entry point. And for the technicians out there on Reddit, please don't roast me if I do this wrong. But let's do it anyway. So I'm gonna zoom into 1 week. I'm gonna hide the Ichimoku clouds.
Oh, come on, Abhishek.
Yeah, I'm not as hardcore as you.
How are you gonna find that entry point?
Yeah, let's go to Tesla. I've been watching Tesla. Cool stock. And then go back to a week. And then let's draw maybe a demand zone.
Wow.
Right here.
This is exciting.
There we go. And then let's just extend it out. And then let's say we actually want to place a trade. So I don't have to go anywhere else. I can do it directly from the chart. So all I have to do is hit the plus button here, press buy limit, and our order's placed. Pretty
Damn.
Cool. Super smooth.
Talk about
That's
modernizing
cool,
this, dude.
Yeah. Now let's try to get a fill. So I don't have to cancel this order, place a new order, and all that stuff. All I have to do is drag it above the current price, make it marketable, replace it, and we've got our share of Tesla.
Huh.
Pretty cool.
That was really great to see. So do you want to show them some of the 24-hour market functionality?
Yeah. I think Robinhood Legend works great on 24-hour market. What I like to do is go to tick charts, smooth out the candles. You can go down to 2 ticks on Robinhood. And one thing that I was doing last week was watching the Tesla event at night with Robinhood Legend on one side of my screen and the event on the other side of the screen. And it was really cool to see the markets react live to their product announcements. It's going up as they did the CyberCab demo. Then I went down a little bit when they brought out the RoboVan. But it's really cool to see in 24-hour market.
Cool. Well, I think you guys are going to love. There's 2 interfaces that allow you to trade directly from the market data now. The Robinhood Ladder on mobile, and now trading from the chart from Robinhood Legend.
And we think you all are really going to love it. So some of you in the audience might have been wondering what was underneath the curtain over there when you were walking in. Well, I want to show you how Robinhood Legend works on more than just one monitor, because we know as traders we just want more space on the screen. So let's go and take a look.
Ooh.
And this is a 4-screen trading setup.
Look at that flare.
Yeah, great flare. So the first thing we're going to do is enter our very complex password, which is just enter. And we've got 4 monitors all up together. And this is actually all off of one computer, so it's super cool. Let's take a look. I've got one screen here. Looks pretty similar all the way on the left. Looks pretty similar to what we were just looking at. But then I've got an options chain on one. I've got 4 charts, all of the same stock on different time frames. And then I've just got 8 charts here of stocks that I've been keeping my eye on. So let's see how this works when they all work together. As you can see, this watch list, the chart, the chain, and these 4 charts are all linked together. So let's say I wanted to open a credit spread for Apple. All I have to do is hit Apple over here. We'll see the chain change. We'll see the 4 charts change all together. And then I can go over to the chain, select 2 contracts, just like a shopping cart, and hit submit. And the market's closed right now, so it's not going to fill. But it's pretty cool that it works with all 4. you might be wondering, what if I want even more monitors? So back at the office, we've actually tested this with up to 7 monitors. So we're really looking forward to seeing how you all set Robinhood Legend up. We were worried that the demo desk here would collapse if we added more monitors, so we couldn't do it for the demo. But speaking of a wall of monitors, one thing that was really important to us is, as traders, you stare at monitors all day, and it can get tiring to stare at it. So one thing that was really important to us was to make the Robinhood Legend experience feel inspiring to use. So to talk a little bit about how we did that, I want to introduce Courtney Hefferman, who led the design team on Robinhood Legend.
Robinhood stock $28.02 after hours right now. It seems like the market is thinking this is going to add a lot more trading volumes and more revenue for them.
Thanks, Abhishek. Hi, everyone. You may have noticed that while Abhishek has been giving this demo, there's been this glow in the background. And you've seen this theme throughout the entire presentation, and you're probably wondering, what the heck is that? It's something we've been calling the aura. And it's not just the glow from Abhishek being really damn excited to use this thing. It's a virtual light source that helps you keep track of which market session you're in. You didn't see anything. And in case you were wondering, it's customizable too. So you can switch between the market session aura, which you just saw, or the one that tracks your account performance. What's really cool about this is that you don't have to constantly stare at your screen. You can walk away from your desk, and the sound and aura cues can keep you up to date. Maybe you're a little bit hungry. Maybe you just needed to make a sandwich. Later, when you start using Legend, you'll notice that we carried this theme through in other places, like when you're making a trade or linking your widgets. I'm excited for you all to try it out. And with that, I'll hand it back to Vlad to wrap us up.
Thanks, Courtney. Thank you to Abhishek as well. And we really think for many people, including those in this room, this will likely become the primary way you trade on Robinhood. And I think we've come a long way from an investing app on your phone all the way to a desktop platform for advanced traders. And you can probably see our new brand colors, Robinhood Neon, and the red integrated throughout the product. So the great thing about Legends, they never die, they grow with you. And this is really just the beginning of what Robinhood Legend can do. There's so much more coming. The team is already hard at work on what's next. Support for crypto, index options and futures, which you saw today. We'll also be adding news, screeners, more indicators and drawing tools, and much more. And of course, Legend is available free for our traders.
It's free, huh?
So we'll be rolling Legend out over the next few weeks, starting right now. And I'm really excited for you to explore all the tools we've built and are continuing to build to match whatever your personal trading style may be. All right, so we've covered a lot today. Why don't we go back to some of those negative tweets from earlier? Look at that. Oh, we've addressed all of it. Okay, maybe all of it, maybe not all of it, but that one's coming later this year. So a recap, here's what's new and what's coming for our active traders. Lowered margin rates to the lowest among leading brokerages. Upgrading our options experience with, among other things, simulated returns. Realized P&L with tax lot management coming later this year. Index options, and of course futures with the Robinhood ladder. And finally, Robinhood Legend, our new desktop platform built specifically for active traders. And while all of this, might be exciting and takes care of some of the biggest requests we've been seeing, today is not just about announcing new products and features. It's about conveying our commitment to getting behind our most active traders, like many of you here today, continuing to give you the best, most powerfully built tools so that you would be at a disadvantage using any other platform. So for those of you here at our first Hood Summit, we'll be teaching you more about these new products and assets over the next few days. We'll also be giving everyone here at the summit early access to Legend. Now, We have some folks on the live stream as well. We haven't forgotten about you. You have the opportunity to get early access as well. So the first 1,000 people to visit robinhood.com/legend on your desktop or laptop and log into their Robinhood account will get access to Robinhood Legend right now, instantly.
Go fast, Amit.
Boom, I got it.
It's only for the live stream. Don't worry. The folks here will get it anyway.
I am in.
Those of you who aren't in the lucky 1,000 will be at the top of the list as soon as we do the next rollout, which will be very soon. So this will be a fast rollout. Okay, one last announcement. So more and more people have been moving their trading activity to Robinhood, particularly this year. We wanted to do something extra special to commemorate this big step forward for trading. So if you're bringing over a brokerage account, we will add 1% to whatever you transfer. But that's not all. For account transfers with at least 10,000 in margin balance, we're bringing that up to 2%. And this one has been people's favorite, 3% on IRA transfers, so retirement account transfers for our gold members. Now this 1, 2, 3 bonus, completely uncapped. There's no limit to what you can bring over. And we're doing it for the entirety of Hood Week, which runs from now until October 27th. So we really want to thank you for letting us share with you all that we've been working on. And I'll be around for the rest of the summit. I'm looking forward to hearing what you're most excited about and also what you'd like to see from us next. Thank you all for coming to the first Hood Summit. We really hope you enjoy all these new products.
Dungeon music.
Well, thank you. All right. I've never been asked to do an encore before at a product keynote, but here we go. There is one more thing.
What? Wait, what? Hold on. Let me see if the stream is dead on their side. No, it's still live.
If it was made on purpose, that's brutal.
If they did that on purpose, it did kind of feel early. It did kind of feel like the event ended early. Either that wasn't supposed to happen with the stream, or they're doing this exclusively for the people at the event. Whoa! All right. Well, we don't know, so we'll go back to this. I'll let you guys know if there's anything else that comes up on
Spoilers.
That definitely felt like it was planned.
Times
like there's no way he there's no way he comes up and says, there's one more thing. Like, no, obviously he had planned one more thing. So Arnie, give me your raw thoughts. I'll keep you guys updated if that goes live. If not, we have some people that we know at the event in Miami, so they'll hopefully be able to tell us what that one more thing is. But what is your reaction to this? What is this?
That's essentially the trading platform, like in terms of charts and operativity that I always hoped to have. Now, a little bit of context. You know me as an investor, but I made my very first steps more into trading, Forex, technical analysis. Like that is what you were supposed to do, like as the earliest steps. So I tried a lot of trading apps. MetaTrader, my broker has its own custom platform. My platform is like the Italian Schwab. So very like it has all the functionalities, but it also it has always given me the impression it works, but I would never use that happily, trying to engaging while I was using that. And I loved how everything looks so smooth and clear. And when you need to trade, you want to have something that works fast and that gives you clarity. So the user experience actually matters a lot. Personally, that tiny detail of the aura is something so small, but so unique that I really appreciated it.
Yeah, I agree. So I have a lot to say. By the way, guys, I think that one last thing is just like an audience giveaway thing. So it's not like an actual product announcement or anything. So nothing too crazy that we're missing. So first of all, here's the actual press release. The press release is out. It's on their Robinhood newsroom. Again, we have Robinhood Legend, which is the new trading app that's free, apparently. So it's not $20 a month, $30 a month, nothing like that. They just want to incentivize people to use it. Futures trading and index options. So that's what we got today. Inside of the Robinhood Active Trader Legend app that I'll load up in a second, we got a bunch of different things we can do. I thought the features they showed off were pretty cool. Index options. I'm not a big index option trader, but the people that are, if they use Robinhood already, boom, they've got the ability to do that. And then futures. I've never traded futures. I don't fully understand futures. I know there's lots of futures. You can trade corn futures, oil, Bitcoin, S&P 500, all that stuff. But this latter approach that we'll talk about in a second seems to be a sort of innovative way on the buying and selling and limit orders of futures, and that's an approach they're going to take to maybe stocks and crypto and other asset classes as well. And that seems to be pretty exciting. This 50-cent commission, from what I looked at just now, $1.50 to $3 is on average the commission for futures contracts at other brokerages. So even 75 cents for non-gold members is pretty cheap. 50 cents seems relatively cheap, similar to margin being at 6%, whereas other brokerages charge 12 to 14%. And that is going to be beneficial for people that want to trade futures on a platform that's much cheaper than what they've been using, and that's integrated into the ecosystem of what they're going at or what they've been using as well for a long time. Okay, here are my raw thoughts on the event itself and then the product announcements, and then I want to get some more of your thoughts, Arnie. Stock right now is at $27.65. We saw the stock get to about $28.30 as soon as this was announced. And so the market obviously thought that, hey, this is going to be very important for trading volumes, which will increase trading revenues, which will increase user experience, user engagement, user ecosystem. I think that's why we're seeing the stock jump right now. I kind of think, in terms of a sell the news, I don't think we're going to have a massive sell the news on this. Could we see a little bit of profit taking tomorrow? Yeah, sure, that's possible. But I think they just unveiled the future of trading. I mean, I think what they just showed off is a brand new way to engage. If you're one of the most engaged peoples in the markets, which means you're an active trader, with the Robinhood suite of products. And I think this is just the beginning of how they're going to incorporate AI. We know they bought an AI company a couple of months ago to make these tools faster and stronger, more efficient, more productive, et cetera. Stock research, financial LLMs. I think that's going to be a big deal. And then in general, if you're trading on Schwab or Fidelity, I am not that used to those platforms, but from what I understand, none of those platforms look like what Robinhood looks like. TradingView, some of you guys said in the chat, TradingView is kind of the industry standard. This looks very similar to TradingView, but it is more sleek, more just like efficient in terms of what they described in terms of that demo. And again, we'll get to play around with that. If this really is the future of trading, and this is how people that I know with 7-figure account balances are going to want to trade in the future, and Robin is going to detach themselves from the meme stocks or from the you're buying and holding a couple stocks here and there, and it's just for people that have a couple $1,000s in their trading account, then that is going to bring over billions of dollars of assets, and that's over the long term. Bringing over those billions of dollars of assets as they continue working with Robinhood, I think that simply means that the market is going to interpret this as one of those catalysts that's just going to have more top-line revenue growth. The company's already growing at 40%. They're going to have harder comps next year in 2025 because 2024 has been easier comps from 2023. They need a really big catalyst to maintain that type of growth stock momentum. And it seems like bringing over these larger accounts that are interacting with the platform in this way is going to help them. Your thoughts, Arnie, on the idea that this is the catalyst the street is looking for to justify the expansion of Robinhood into new active traders?
I was trying to elaborate a little bit of the thoughts, trying to segment all the different information that pass through my mind. What is new? If you have to tell me what things have you seen for the first time?
So the one thing, and again, I'm just getting into it as well. The one thing I will say is that it seems like the process of setting an order and having that order fill seems to be a little bit more unique than the other trading apps. Now, I'm sure the other trading apps have something similar to it, but the sleekness and kind of small differentiations in terms of that user experience, which again, I'm not that big of an active trader, so I haven't tested out a lot of other platforms. So we're gonna have to see if actual active traders like Jason, who's a big fan of the channel, Paper Gains, if he switches over to Robinhood, is that enough to get them to change? I don't know. But from what it looked at, it was an Apple-like experience in terms of how sleek I got as a first-time viewer of that. The question is going to be: are people that have big accounts that are using other platforms, are they also going to see that that's going to be something they want to change to?
That's exactly the impression I have. Like as I told you, I've tried and used seen many trading platforms, and it seems like this one has nothing that, like, so far I didn't see like one single feature. Oh, I've completely never seen that. But
Right.
it is really the very first time I see all the cool stuff that I've seen across the platforms actually put in one platform. It's like so far what I've seen cool on one side, maybe it was just a visual app like TradingView. Then I had this cool stuff from another broker. Oh, like this is actually very cool. But then all the rest of the experience sucked. Then, oh, I love this idea. I set an order, and if I just bring it down, bring it lower, the order adjusted itself. Like that is from Interactive Brokers, a feature that is available. I showed you Interactive Brokers. Overall, is a platform that is very complete, but it took you 10 minutes to try to figure out how to sell a cover call on make a cover call on Palantir, and you were not able to. So it's like the functionalities were there, but they were not intuitive enough so that you were encouraged even to try again. And I think this is the very big innovation. We like last year when Palantir, when Robinhood was in the dump, and people were screaming, "Oh, no competitive mode is just another trading app." We were arguing, "Hey, look, the design actually is a mode, because if you are the only one really trying to understand your customer such at a deep level that customers love using that tool, that means that these users can grow with you." And so far, what you see is a deep fragmentation between newbies, and very professional guys. You don't really see something in between, which is a big part of the audience that essentially no one really is capturing, because Shrub, all these platforms look too distant, look too clunky. You don't really want to use them. But if the same functionalities can be deployed into a platform that is actually easy to use, nice to use, that would encourage people to trade more.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's super fair for people to be like, hey, this is not anything unique from other trading apps. Arnie and I are not necessarily super advanced traders, that we're not trading, thousands of times a day. So we aren't experiencing that every single day, but we both know people that are, right? And so this is going to be a big thing when it is officially unveiled. Thank God I was on the website and I logged in as soon as he said the 1,000 people. I think I logged in right before he said 1,000 people. So at least I have access to it. So I'll be able to play with it now. But we are going to have to see, stocks basically lost all of the 5% gains, 27.12 after hours. We're going to have to see if the market interprets other advanced traders leaving TradingView or whatever they're using for Robinhood. And that's going to be the debate now, to see if this has an impact on increased deposits.
If there is one thing that makes me confident on what I'm seeing is this is the basis from where they can keep building new products. And we know that Robinhood is actually very good at making a good software interface and a good backend, so that when there is new features, they can be very fast. What I noticed with trading platforms so far is that how they looked 10 years ago, they essentially look still the same. It means that there were some structural problems into creating the iterative loop, while Robinhood doesn't really have that. For instance, Vlad even called them out. It's called the swing, think or swing
yes.
Like that looks awful.
Yeah. Yeah. Those other platforms, I agree. Vlad kind of called them out and said, they just haven't been the best user experience. He also actually showed the tweets, right, from people that were criticizing Robin. I thought that was a genius thing to do, just from a presentation perspective, to be like, hey, like, we've heard the concerns, and people obviously believe that there's parts of our app that sucks. Just playing with it right now, I mean, the charting alone seems really exciting. Again, there's like 3 minutes of me going into this, so I have a lot of work to do to kind of play with it and see what it feels like. But the ability to customize the widgets, the zooming in and out. I just ordered a trade on Palantir. I don't know if it got filled, but you see trade right here. You guys see this, right? Yep. I can press buy Palantir. It says your limit order to buy once your Palantir was submitted.
Look, first impression. Would you be encouraged to use this tool for your daily stream?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, the charting already feels better than Weeble, dude. Like, even the zooming in and out of this stuff is like so much more. Yeah, I mean, look at the candles. This is all this animation on zooming. I know these are little things, guys, but as Arnie said in the beginning of the stream, when we were arguing for Robinhood at $7 and $8, and most of the people that invest in like financial services companies told us there's no moat, Arnie and I's argument was like the user experience is a moat. And I think we've been vindicated on that, because the user experience is why they've had record deposits and record revenue growth and engagement. And it seems like all those little things they have to focus on. The presentation itself, let me just say, it was a little awkward. I think there were moments where it was like a little bit too much acting, and the people that got on stage were, a little jittery. That's okay. Me and Arnie, we know what it feels like to be in front of a live audience and make mistakes. Like, it happens. You can't these people are, building a business. They're not presenting all day, right? So it's a unique environment for them. But I think when people actually get a hold of the product and start using it and engaging with it, that's what's going to create the deeper conviction behind the user experience and the platform. And that is the long-term thesis on Robinhood. And if we're right about that long-term thesis playing out in terms of engagement and user experience, I think the street's going to be excited for it.
You said, how cool, smooth it is to zoom in and zoom out. And that made me pop like a memory of when I made my first internship, where I was facing at Bloomberg every time. Like, on Bloomberg, you can have like all the charts you want, all the details you want. Yet, rather than using a Bloomberg for charts, I was still using TradingView. and my colleagues were like, well, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, this is actually cool to use. Bloomberg looks like every time I need to just zoom in, zoom out, it's awkward. And imagine that all the older generations can't really grasp it. But from our generation below, the user experience is so important, because we use apps all day long. And now the level that is required to stand out, to make young people be happy to use them, is very high. And look, I think Vlad made a very, very important point in the narrative. Like, I personally loved the story of the financial system going back to ages of dinosaurs. Yeah. He said a sentence that made me think a lot. The innovators have been absorbed by the legacy players and just in search for AUM fees. Essentially, all the users, the passionate users of the platform, they were converted into simple leads to bring asset management fees. That's so brutal, but so real, because do you remember months ago when even Robinhood was making memes of this, that once Schwab completely the integration of TD Ameritrade, essentially they deleted TD Ameritrade, which had a page, like a fan base, that were happy to use that, but no, they were forced to migrate to Schwab, and they didn't want to.
Yeah, and that messed up a lot of. I mean, that created a lot of people coming over to Robinhood because they were just not happy with the forced integration that they had to be in. And you might be asking, why did Schwab have to acquire that company? Is because they weren't growing and they needed to acquire. right? They needed to have external growth. Robinhood's having this organic growth because of R&D, innovation, launching new products. They've launched a lot of new products this year already. And I think that is the differentiating mode here. Robinhood is at this level, $26 billion market cap with $5 billion in cash. So $21 billion enterprise value, growing 40%, trading at, I think, 15 to 20 times EBITDA. I mean, the stock is cheap, even at 27. I bought today at 27. I've been buying from 25. I've been buying from 22.50 up until 27 over the past couple of weeks. And it's based on that idea that I think they're going to grow. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other catalysts as well. You got crypto coming up. You got earnings coming up. You've got overall momentum in terms of the bull market, Robinhood having increased volumes because of that bull market. But I think this was a very necessary thing for them to do. Trading volumes right now are topping out at about 100 billion a quarter. If this can get trading volumes to double over the next year, you're going to see a substantial increase in revenue. And options, they have their highest take rate on options at 46%. So they make 46 cents every time someone trades an option. I mean, if you get hundreds of thousands of new options traders a month, or options trades a month because of this platform, that should also increase revenue as well. And that's why the street's buying up the stock right now. And the stock, anything could happen to the stock tomorrow as the market opens. But I think the broader argument from the street is, okay, you've introduced this new set of tools for an engaged user base. Now we got to see how the rollout happens. And if we see mass adoption, or at least, Robinhood Gold has an 8% adoption out of all their users. About 8% of their users subscribe for $5 a month. Apparently this is free. That's what Vlad said, right? Going off what he said, it's free. Only 1,000 people got access to it today, but it's free. If it's free and they're going to make money from people just bringing over their big accounts onto the Robinhood Legend trading app, that should increase a lot of momentum. I think that's why the street is going to be excited for it. Got some comments right here in the chat. Some people are saying, why are they only doing 1,000 users? So yeah, I would love if everyone could use this today, but it does seem like they want to be a little bit strategic on the rollout. I know it's similar to the credit card. People are not happy that the credit card is taking some time. With the credit card, it's a little bit different. It's underwriting credit, right? And credit limits. And like that can get very bad if you give people too much credit and they're not able to pay back their balances. So I understand why they're taking their time on this. I would imagine this is going to take less time than the credit card. You can see right here, Schwab charges $2.25 a contract for futures. Robinhood Gold charges 50 cents. So it seems like it's the cheapest so far. And if it does come out within the next few months and millions of people have access to it, you should see an impact on earnings in the next few quarters as well. And they kind of need to do that, right? Because they need to grow. And the way to grow is to have new products.
Mm-hmm. Amit, would you like to try some technical analysis on the Robinhood stock? Because the big question for the success of this platform is, do people actually like to spend time drawing charts, lines, all this kind of stuff? Because, for instance, on TradingView, it is actually a happy experience. Everything is so smooth, like the tools are in the place where you expect them to be. If you want to make some changes, it is actually comfortable to do that.
Yeah, let's try it out. And again, I'm not the best at technical analysis, but let's just add some indicators and kind of play around with it. So we'll do, this is a hood stock. We got Bollinger Bands. We've got RSI. So we got the relative strength index below. We can do our simple moving average. That's fine. Do they have volume? I don't know if they have the volume shelf on this one. That would be nice to see. Volume weighted average price, they have that as well. Okay, so we have a lot of different, so we have 4 indicators going up right there. We have the Bollinger Bands, SMA, volume weighted average price, and we have the RSI.
Good point. Sorry. If you click on the RSI, can you customize the settings for the indicator? So try to click on with the right on the indicator, or
let's see. So RSI, there it is.
Oh,
yeah, here it goes. Yeah, right there. Okay. So yeah, that is where you would get your, yeah, right there. We can change it from your exponential weighted to simple to Wilder's. Length, we can increase that to about 20, give us a better look at it. Right now, Hood on the weekly RSI is at about 70. So you could say it's a little bit overbought. And on the monthly, it is also overbought, which makes sense given the run that it's had so far.
Okay, try to clean everything, and let's keep like the chart completely clean, and let's try to draw some lines. I don't pretend you to be like a Giotto or Michelangelo. just follow your intuition. Because I want to see like how smooth it is, the experience.
Yeah, so let me clear out some stuff. Let's get rid of this. There's it right there. Let's make it candles. Okay, so this is the line tool. So first let me go to the year to date. If I just want to do a year to date line, that is my beautiful line that I'm putting up there. Okay, there's a line.
Okay, let's imagine that you realize now that your line is not really set in the right place, and you need to adjust that line.
Okay, so this would be a new line. All right, so we don't want to do that. Let's delete that.
Try to move the existing line. Okay,
there we
try
go.
to change one angle of the line.
There we go. We can make it smaller. We can move the line itself like this.
Okay.
I think the line itself also can be a different type of line. Yeah, right there. We can make it bolder, dotted. Yeah, this is a really helpful exercise, Arnie, because the people that actually do know technical analysis, that can do stuff. Where's Jason? Dude, all right. So when Jason joins for Technical Tuesday next week, he's going to give us a real rundown on it. Drawing charts is tough on a trackpad. Yeah, 100%. And I think he's going to be the guy to really show us what it feels like and how intuitive it is. Because when he uses TradingView, he's like a magician. Just like he's like legit like Michelangelo, right? Drawing lines and making
yeah, like a first impression is that is very smooth. It seems like they really took inspiration from what actually works, which is TradingView.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have a volume shelf though. That's one of the things.
That's actually a pity. I think that information costs a lot, but I think that if they included that for free, that would automatically steal a lot of people that pay TradingView just for that. So, Robinhood team, if you're listening, consider that.
Yeah, they have this. I mean, they have an on-balance volume, OBV. I don't know if that's similar to a volume shelf.
No,
maybe that is.
Like
that's
a
not
kind
right.
Of no. Well, no.
Look for volume profile. Hold on. Let me see. Do I have that volume profile? No, nothing there on volume profile. That is a miss because I mean, like most people use TradingView just to see the volume shelf, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is something I would expect.
Something that also from other platforms I've seen, tried. So far, that is rare, and I've noticed that essentially most of these very sophisticated traders like Jesse use that as a primary stuff.
Yeah, you guys are saying it's volume profile. I'm searching and it's not there. Mm-hmm. It's not there. At least that's what I'm not seeing right now.
And okay,
go ahead, Arnie.
Well, other stuff like let's try to build a new watch list. Like let's make our favorite stocks. Like
this is something I was trying to do. Hold on. This is something I was trying to do during the event once I got access to this.
Because that is also very beneficial for your stream. So the ability to jump here and there between watch list and then have a multiple view, maybe that's also another thing that I would like to see with you, like how easy.
Yeah, so we can do this here. New watch list. So we're just going to call it favorite stocks. right? Because the goal is for this to replace Webull in the morning for the market open. So let's add Tesla. Let's add Hood. Let's add Palantir. Let's add Arnie's Airbnb. Let's add Amazon. Okay, so those are 5 stocks. So on Webull, just to give people the comparison, what I use every morning is something like this. So my stocks are on the side. I have my chart and easily just press a stock, load up the chart. That's it. I mean, that's why I use Webull. Pretty simple. So to be objective here, let's see if this kind of creates the same experience. If I want to add a stock, SoFi, add SoFi. By the way, SoFi, hell of a run, guys.
Because my reasoning is simple. If you have very active users like you that actually make live streams that are super happy, wow, that animation is like...
That is interesting.
That are super happy to show that. Imagine like you talk to 2,000-3,000 people every day, and these people look at you, look at the platform you see, like the sees, like that becomes a very, very powerful marketing signal that would encourage people to, hey, I want that stuff too. It is even free. Like that is not to be taken for granted, because like on my broker, the app, wow, like, okay.
Right. So okay. So this is basically what we have. This is the chart. This is what I use on Webull on this side, and then these are the stocks. The one thing I don't like about the favorite stocks watch list is that it's pretty small in terms of like. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, maybe you can adjust it with 3 dots on the top.
Customize columns. Okay, so that's increasing the call. Oh, maybe if I stretch it out. But it's still like so this is the difference with Webull. With Webull, they're like boxes stacked on top of each other. You can't see financials in it. So you see how they're stacked, these little like, stacked boxes? With this one, they're stretched out rectangles that are a little bit harder. Like if someone's watching from a YouTube stream, it's harder to see that Airbnb, Amazon, Hood, and Palantir, right? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's, and then if I do this, I can barely see the actual columns that I set. The chart does adjust based on me moving, which is good. The charting is amazing though. I mean, Webull's charts just have nothing on these animations, and like the ease of switching. Like look at that, the 5-year to the year-to-date. Like on Webull, it looks like a robot switching, and it's just not attractive.
It's amazing how the same stuff could give you a completely different experience just from how smooth it moves.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not that big of a deal that these watch list stocks are a little smaller because the Webull stocks are pretty small too, right? It's not like it's super big.
Yeah, but I'm looking at my screen on the laptop. Like I'm using a big monitor in front of me, and my laptop here below, where I see stuff smaller. And for instance, from this distance, I already don't see that the first one is Airbnb. So that creates a little bit of friction. And for instance, I would love to see, also when I see the chart on the right, I would love to see, if not the text bigger, I would love to see a logo. Because if I don't see the text, at least I can associate, okay, I'm looking at NVIDIA. But if I join the stream and I see you using this, it's like, oh, wait a second. Okay, this is NVIDIA.
Yeah. Can you remove any of the titles? Yeah, I can remove these easily. So what if it's just the stock itself? Oh, that's ugly. Yeah, that's ugly. If it's just, I don't like that. I'll be honest here. I don't like that. If it's just the stock, I should be able to, like, again, look at this compared to Webull. It's just, Webull looks better on that. And again, I'm thinking of it as a content creator. So this has no impact on the actual trading of the platform. This is me like showing stocks in the morning to my audience. And maybe I'm just used to it, but like we got the chart, which the charting sucks compared to Robinhood. That's acknowledged. But just this little feature right here of having things easily show up. The price on the side, the name of the thing right there, boxed on top of each other. That right there is a very simple.
Do you actually use that information about the book, like the volumes for each price?
Yes.
Like that
So,
information on the right.
100%. So I actually do use this. This is what I'm trying to see if Robinhood has this as well. I use a lot of times the volume. So we're looking at Domino's right now. I look at the market cap all the time, 14.79 billion, price to earnings 25, PE, shares outstanding 34 million. Like basic things about the stock: price to earnings, price to sales. Does it have a dividend or not? 1.4%. Market cap. Those like 5 or 6 things that's right at the top right corner you're seeing on Webull. The order book volume I don't use at all. So this thing, to be honest, I don't need. I could probably get rid of that, but then it's just like empty right there, blank, which looks kind of bad. I'm trying to see if this hood thing has that.
Okay.
And in the widgets, it doesn't seem like it has that in the widgets at all. It only has options chain, recent orders, my positions, account summary, watch list, and the chart.
Okay. Is there a way to bring you from the chart to like some basic info?
So that's a good question. So basically, let's say I want to get the price to earnings on Palantir. That's a good question. I don't see.
Because imagine you come out with a big, this stock is rising 20%. Okay, but what is this stock? And then you have to Google that. Maybe, and many times you don't really need to dig too much. It's just, like there is this stock in the healthcare space up 20%. It could be nice to see, okay, this is a company that engages in cancer drug discovery.
Yeah, so the only thing we can do here is we can add like price to earnings, earnings date, dividend, all the dividend yield, all the stuff I was just talking about, Domino's. But the problem is it comes up in this like column that's too many numbers right here stuck. Like if I want to, like I should click Airbnb and then there should be a widget. If anyone from Robinhood is listening, I really don't like this dude as a content creator. If I click Airbnb on the left-hand side of my screen in a small box, I should get like 8 or 10 different metrics on Airbnb. But if you have to force me to kind of show the dividend yield and the price to earnings and the market cap,
an idea
this part of the screen, it's not it.
An idea could be that of the logo, where if you press the logo, essentially you have like a pop-up that encapsulates that basic information that you wanted, like market cap, what the company does in a sentence, PE, and shares outstanding.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and exactly. And the widget, guys, the widget doesn't do it. The widget is just charts and options flow and your personal account.
What if you right-click on the name? Something happens on the name on the list?
No, it's just that animation.
Okay, so that could be another way to provide more information if someone wants like a tab with some more detailed info. So for instance, something that I would personally love would be like I click on Airbnb, click right, and have a snapshot of revenue, operating income, net income, with also some analyst estimates, like all with like a BIMP, so that you can have a sense, okay, this company is doing more or less this company is this. Especially when you deal with many stocks like you, I think that would be very beneficial to understand, okay, I'm talking about of a growth story or something like as a turnaround story, like, because otherwise you always need to check here and there with Google, with another stuff.
Yeah, and I think you're right. They need to replace using Google to like a research. It needs to just be all indicated, all interactive right there. And I look, this is a good first step, but I'm sure, like when I press add widget, there's 6 things, guys: a watch list, a chart, your positions, recent orders, option chain, and account summary. Yeah, right here. This is what you see.
Because I think what is very, very peculiar about this app is like when you open it, is like a white page where you essentially customize what you see. And for instance, I think you can even add like more charts. Like for instance, something that could be nice for your stream when you select a stock to have contemporaneously like the views on the day and maybe below the view on a short-term time frame, something like that.
Correct. The problem is I think they're going to add more widgets. And I think when they add more widgets, as what you're saying, Arnie, like price on the day, price during the middle of the day, these little like boxes that show different things that people care about. Again, this is the first step, 6 widgets right there. The chart watch list is, and the option change, which I don't even need the option change. The chart and the watch list is all I need for my stream, but it needs to be presented in a way that's easier to digest. And right now that's not there. Maybe I'm just really used to Webull, but with the chart right here and the names on the watch list, it's just very simple to see everything. And then if I need quick data, it's in the corner. That's really all I need. Quick data. All I need on the name is the ticker and the price. That's it. There's nothing that needs to be added on the right-hand side of the screen. I don't need a billion price earnings, dividend yield, any of that stuff. I need that in a separate part of the screen. And then I need the chart. And then I need the actual tickers themselves. Now, again, I'm speaking as a content creator. So maybe Robinhood doesn't care that much about me because, it's more for active traders. But if they want someone to use it every single day and, content creators basically are doing free advertising for Webull as they use it every day, that is something I think they would care about.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at what I was saying before, that I'm distant enough where like I see your Webull page distant enough, but I still can read. I think that is the stress test. Can you read the stuff even if you're a bit further away? Because not everybody has like insane big screens, especially the audience of content creators look at you. You use StreamYard, so you already sacrifice some details, some space. So that could be very beneficial. One thing I'm very curious, when you open like after our market, the after hour time on the app, you see things slightly different in terms of colors. How is this different? Like, how can I understand if I'm looking right now at the price moving after market or not? Like, for instance, right now we see Airbnb 134. Is this the price of the aftermarket, the price that 24 hours is currently exchanging on? How can I know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So there's this extended hours and then portfolio performance where...
No, that is the aura where you can change the color essentially. So this way...
Yeah, I think you are looking at... So if I click on SoFi...
I think here is a big miss. Like when I click on the name on the right with the right click, I expect to see like a menu where I can see or more details or like advanced charts or give me something there.
Yeah, this is really weird, guys. If I click on Palantir, I just clicked, the chart should load Palantir. I don't know if that's a bug, but that is very weird. I don't even like that. There's no excuse for that. I don't know why that doesn't switch to... I mean, let me refresh it. Maybe that's like, that is weird, dude. I agree. And again, these are little bugs. That's probably why they're only letting it out to 1,000 people, because they're going to get a lot of data and then figure out what they need to do with it. But those are little intuitive things that I think have to change to make this a lot more friendly. The UI is slick and it looks very nice. Now it's just a question of real functionality to get people to be excited for it.
Is this enough to bring Jesse using Robinhood?
I don't know. I found it right here, Arnie. If I click on the colors, I don't understand this. If I click on orange, I get to Airbnb. If I click on purple, I get to Nvidia. I don't know why these... I don't understand these colors.
That's the list. No, what? No, I don't.
Yeah, the colors are associated with the list, but why? How do I know if the colors... Like, why is AMC green? AMC is not even on my watch list.
Maybe because it's done in a way where if you click a color, is like a setting where it's not only one stock but multiple stocks all linked to that color.
Oh yeah, it's a linked group. Interesting. I don't know exactly what that means, but
could be. I would be like it's like a list. If I click this list, boom, display all the stocks of this list. But that is something that, or you have like multiple small screens, or you. I show you like how I'm doing. Like for instance, what I typically use.
Yeah, and again, guys, I mean, this is the first time I'm using this, so this is all. Maybe this is intuitive stuff that is not intuitive to me yet because I need to play with it. By the way, it also doesn't need to be super intuitive. I mean, this is for advanced traders. This is for people that are like very customized building applications. This is not for the 22-year-olds that just started playing with the stock market, right? So if it's not that intuitive, that's actually kind of a good thing because it's not supposed to be that intuitive for the more sophisticated people.
So this is more or less how I like to see stuff. Like these are the companies that I like to have a glance on. To essentially in one view, I see if there is something weird going on. For instance, if I see Apple going up, I also expect Microsoft going up. At the same time, I expect like all the Mag 7 going up. And if I see all the Mag 7 going up, Palantir goes down. It's like, okay, that's peculiar. If I see everything up, that's another information. And I personally like to have like these lists where, for instance, here I have Nubank, MSCI, Uber, and all this stuff. And I personally find having an overview like this very, very useful. I think that color is like, okay, a list, but it would be interesting to see. And for instance, another, or maybe like on the same stock, you can have like multiple time frames, because that's also something a specific kind of traders look at. Like those who make scalping, they like to have like a very short time frame on the latest chart, but then have all the sequential, like, okay, I'm operating at the 10 minutes, but I also look at the 30 minutes, I look at the 4 hour, and I look the daily, and I look at the weekly. But I see all the sequence.
Right. No, I agree. By the way, when did Rocket Lab get above $11 today? I did not see that.
Wow.
I did not see that. Karthik says you need to link both the widget with the same color. Try changing both to blue. Okay. So if I make Rocket Lab blue, okay, Tesla just went blue.
Make it also MC blue.
Tesla's blue up there. So now I'm looking at two parts of Tesla. So my thing is, when I click on Amazon right there on the left-hand side of the screen, why does that not change this chart to Amazon? I feel like that's an obvious intuitive.
If you press trade, what happens?
It just opens up
the tab. Okay.
Yeah, like, so do I have to click on the linked and unlinked colors just to get to a new group of stocks, which is okay. That's fine. It's not the most intuitive to me. And again, that's...
I still don't understand what this means, honestly.
Yeah, I still don't get grouping it by widgets. I'm sorry, dude. I don't get that. I don't get that shit at all. That's I'm not a super advanced trader. I got to spend more time looking at that, but that is not a... Like, so these colors...
A color here, no, it doesn't change anything. So okay, so this is definitely not intuitive. It's nice,
not for
but
me.
I don't understand what's the goal. But it's very nice that you were able. How did you make the second chart? Like, I'm curious of that.
I think I just pressed add widget and I add a chart, and then the chart.
Okay, add another one. I want to see like if that makes you work or if it is done smartly.
Yeah.
Okay,
you got Disney.
So do another one. Okay, this is done very well.
Okay, so okay, now I kind of see what they're doing. All right, so the reason they have this colors is because you have different widgets, and these different widgets can be different charts. Can I add another chart? Do I get more than 4? Oh yeah, I can get 5. Okay. Now it makes more sense why they had to do this chart thing. Again, guys, I'm thinking of it as a content creator. And I for the past, like, I don't know how many market opens I've done, 1,000 episodes. I've used Webull in a certain way. So you got to give me a little bit of grace in terms of how I'm navigating this. Because as a content creator, I can't have these 5 stocks all at once. Because when we talk about one stock, it's only one stock. And I'm just trying to think, how do I immediately switch to the next shot? Okay, so you can have 5 open at once. If I get rid of this watch list, do I get another one? Yeah, I get 6. 6 is the max. And then there you go. Now, okay, now the stretching of this and the automatic customization or the automatic matching
is very nice.
Yeah.
But talking about customization, what if on the main chart, like the one in the middle, rather than seeing the green and the red, I want to see black and white? Is that possible? It's a simple stuff, but I wonder if, like, what's the degree of customization, for instance, for the candles, for the background? Because these are the tiny stuff that people that trade like to. Oh, look, this is a very cool stuff, by the way.
This is cool. This is very cool. Yeah, this is very cool. So multiple browsers, basically, right?
This is something I've never seen, and this makes a lot of sense.
I've never seen something like this. This is actually really cool. So boom, let's say I have like Mag 7 right here, and then I have all my Mag 7 stocks, and then I can just immediately switch to whatever we would call this, NVIDIA, and this would have like different, or semis, right? And I would have semis right here. This is actually different because on Webull, what I do right now on Webull is I have this watch lists, which are pretty boring, right? So you see recently viewed, I can go to watch lists and I just go to like different watch lists, right? So China, and then boom, you have all China right there. On Robinhood, it seems more like a desktop kind of feel, where if I want to make a new watch list, start from scratch, I'll call it China, okay? And then let's add a watch list. One of my watch lists, I already have a China watch list right here on Robinhood. Boom, we have China. And now let's do this color linking shit that they came up with. So add widget chart. Boom, Baba. So that's the pink one. All right. So now if I want to add another widget.
Oh, so you see, this way you can add what I was saying. You click Baba and you can get on the main chart, like the daily chart.
Oh, now it's switching. Hold on. Now this is why people are getting mad in the chat. Now it's switching. So if we're on the right color and we click PDD pops up. I was on the wrong color and I was clicking on a name and it kept not showing the name because it wasn't linked to the fucking color.
Ah,
there we go.
So there is a sense.
Oh my god, you guys are probably so annoyed in the chat. You guys are probably so annoyed.
Okay, try to have like a one on the daily and the other on the 15 minutes chart.
Okay, so that we got Baba right here. So I'm gonna put Baba on the daily.
Do you know that
Baba on the monthly? Oh, this is cute. This is cute. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, because you know when you stream, often you take the screen and then you change like to see like from daily to 15 minutes to see the bigger candle. But this way you can have like an overview, and then let's say, okay, rather than the daily chart, I want it to be like full screen. Can you go full screen somehow from that view?
So I have Baba on the daily, the 5-year, the all-time, and the monthly, which is actually really cool looking at it from these angles. To go, yeah, I think I can take one of these and just kind of stretch it out.
No, I don't like it.
No, not fully. Yeah.
I like what I want to see is you click on this, like on the first chart, and there is a way like click, boom, it takes all the space from all other charts. That's the
I
want. Because imagine
they have that. Yeah.
Imagine you click on Baba, you see this, and then you notice a pattern or something that requires your deepest attention on the first chart, so the 5 minutes chart. What you do, like, now I open another chart on another's browser. No, you want the same chart, just you want to have something where that becomes like your entire screen, so that you can analyze it bigger. And then you're done. You click, this compresses again.
Right. And I actually really like this whole desktop type of thing, because if like we talk about Palantir a lot, if I just want a screen dedicated to Palantir, let me just wait. Let me make like a new watch list right here. So
I think
can
this
I do add watch list.
This
so if I press
browser,
new watch list, Palantir, we're going to add just Palantir here. And then we're going to add all the metrics that we want to have. All the stuff just for Palantir. So one thing I would like is if these metrics can kind of be boxed on top of each other versus horizontal. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, when it is like one, it doesn't make any sense to have like infinite columns.
Yeah. And then then you have the chart right here that I can just play with the chart always on Palantir. And I can, whenever we got to talk about Palantir, we don't need to like type in Palantir. We just click on this Palantir right at the top. Right. And then we go to Mag 7. Then we go to semis. This part I like a lot. What were you going to say, Arnie, on this desktop browser type of feature?
I think this is the thing that I've never seen on another platform. It's not like something crazy, but in terms of experience, once you want to have like a complicated setup, or you are just relatively more pro user, in the same way I like list. Essentially, this stuff can substitute list, but each list is already personalized. So each tab becomes a list of stuff that you want to have a deeper focus. I think this stuff that I was telling you, for instance, you see this setting, and you see that Airbnb is just there, like smaller and like in between. But let's see, like, okay, now Airbnb looks very interesting right now. I definitely want to have like a way where with one click, I have Airbnb becoming like an entire, capturing all the screen size.
Yeah, the people are saying click the 3 dots and then you can maximize the screen. I don't see that right there. On 3 dots, I just see delete widget, open orders, open positions.
Yeah. I'll show you like the kind of experience I'm meaning. I think it would be easier to explain. Like, for instance,
stock right now is 27.44 as we enter the overnight trading session, folks.
So you see that more or less we end up having the same stuff. Just I like white charts. But for instance, I find very, very useful when, for instance, I look at Nubank, boom, like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't see, and that would be very beneficial also for you, because if you want to show the audience, oh, look at the moving average and blah, 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 you want to zoom out, to zoom in to actually show this. And this, like this small stuff is beneficial for you to recognize the situation. But if you want to see the situation, you want to have it like at scale.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I know this is like a minor stuff. Like, to be honest, how stupid it is to implement a function like this once you already have all the beautiful infrastructure all around. So now we are a little bit picky here and there because we want like the perfect experience.
Yeah, and it's good we're picky, dude. I mean, like, I'm sure Robinhood employees might watch this or check it out. Like, this is the stuff that I'm looking for. This is the stuff that I need just from a content perspective. The boxes on top of each other I would really like, and not seeing the string of data in a horizontal manner, because there's only so much room on the screen. So if the chart takes up most of the screen and it's not like stacked up on top of each other in a small box, then I just can't keep scrolling to find the price to earnings, right? It should just be right there like it is on Webull, just in a box in a small little section. So those are the little nitpicky things, but they said 1,000 people. I'm assuming they're going to have a lot of testing with this. Robinhood's a very data-driven organization, so they're going to use a lot of that data to figure out how to make this better. And then I think 2025 is when we're really going to see a rollout. And that's when it's going to matter a lot more. So the question now is, Arnie, let's talk about the stock a little bit. Stock's had a really nice run, $27. Do you think it's overvalued, undervalued, given the announcements today? Kind of how do you think the street interprets it over the next few months?
Let's assume I'm an analyst and I need to write a report on what I saw. I would say the stuff that were released are interesting. I would not see we are like shaken away as if Palantir launched AAP, which is something like completely new that like captures an entire infinite market. But that is like a sequential move that is actually needed and executed okay. I would say okay because there are some very cool stuff, but we already noticed that there are already some steps that could be implemented better. And my thought was maybe like I think they got the like the collaboration with some traders, and I struggle to understand like the degree of collaborations they had with traders. Like because in my mind I thought they were willing to hit like the very 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 sophisticated traders. And also like the sophisticated enough traders. I think with this product, they're hitting on the quite sophisticated people. They're not enough sophisticated to make Jesse move millions on Robinhood and make charts with that. I think that's the pity, but it is absolutely adjustable. And I think not being optimized for streaming like yours is actually a pity. That makes me think that they tested the app to make it to work nice. I think they've not optimized for the real user experience of a pro user.
Yeah, so, I think maybe they've kind of over optimized for that pro user more than they have for the streamer, which is a fair thing to do. But in the day and age where, you know, Robinhood screenshots have been the advertising for the product for the past couple of years, something that's more user friendly to someone like Tanner. Tanner like streams with Mumu, right? And he shows the watch list and all that stuff. Like just like this is the way the world's growing in terms of this is how people find out about new products. Something a little bit easier, which I think they'll be able to implement, you know, relatively soon, is going to help people. I do agree with you. Just being objective here, I don't know if there's something in this product that is fundamentally differentiated from TradingView. I think there is a UI that's differentiated, and I think there is a kind of sleekness that's differentiated for people like myself that have never really used TradingView that are getting access to an advanced trader product for the first time, even though I'm not an advanced trader. I'm not doing, you know, hundreds of trades a day. It looks really amazing, but I've got to be objective here as an investor and say, well, what do my friends who've been doing trading for decades, what do they see in this? Because I think it looks super cool. Do they think, yeah, it looks super cool, but is that enough to get them to switch? And I think that's the big question. And so I think the next couple of weeks, I will be doing a ton of anecdotal research and asking all the people I know that do a lot of trading, would you switch, right? Because that's the question. Would you? I know a lot of people are switching from Schwab and Fidelity on their basic trading accounts, brokerage accounts, just to get into Robinhood for a variety of reasons. That is definitive, and it's worked very well over the past couple months, especially with the 1% match. Now it's a question of will the traders leave as well?
I think they optimized very, very well the easiness with which you can make trades. Like set the trade, adjust the trade, and see the result of the trade while looking at the chart. I think that is phenomenal. That is like the perfect experience you want to have. I think what's around the experience, which is part of the trading experience, could be improved a little bit better.
Yes, and as Lunar says right here, the widgets are modular. As long as they add more widgets, they can iterate very fast. And we know Robinhood iterates very fast, so I would imagine they are probably going to be adding a ton of more stuff. It seems like this is just the beginning, which is the exciting part as the investor, right?
Yeah, I think that's the interesting stuff. Like if you built the infrastructure of this product well, which is like browsers with widgets and adjust widgets. Like the infrastructure is there. You can deploy updates relatively fast and easily. But for instance, would be this enough to move people from TradingView to Robinhood just to look at charts? I think we are not there yet. And it's actually a
That's the
pity.
question.
And from this stance, I think they could work what's about TradingView that we keep mentioning is also the fact that there's a community of people around it. There are people that like to build their own indicators, all this stuff. So these are potential next steps that are not mentioned here and there. Probably they're like too sophisticated for the average client they're targeting. If I were an analyst, I would be happy of the step. I would be happy for the futures. Personally, I've never met someone trading actively futures. All the experiences I have from friends with futures were just, oh, that's a great way to burn your account very fast. And I never, but this was like almost 10 years ago when we were like at university. And since there, I've never met anyone actively trading futures. So if there is any future trading in the chat, it would be very nice to have an overview, like how important it is future trading. Personally, I never know how many people trade futures.
Dave here says, I use TradingView for dumb money streams mainly because I can use my brand color on the chart. I don't use it to trade. The differentiation here is that you can trade Robinhood right on the chart. Okay, so for those that use TradingView, that seems to be a big deal. So on TradingView, you cannot trade right on the chart. If that's correct, which I imagine that is correct, given that's what Dave is saying, that's already a big differentiation in my opinion. And that's what they showed in the demo, right? When they bought Tesla and they kind of like set that range and then it didn't get filled and they set a higher range and then they got filled. If that's true and you can't trade right from the chart, Doug says you can trade on the chart, but only with small or foreign brokers. So can you trade on the chart with your Schwab account? Can you connect your Schwab account to TradingView and then place a trade right from the chart, literally select a range from Tesla 220 to 222, and then get an order filled from the chart into your Schwab account? Because if you can't do that and you can do that on Hood, that is a big deal.
Yeah,
that seems to be a big fucking deal.
Yeah, because that's exactly the point that where TradingView is really good at. You'll use a TradingView for charts, but there are some brokers that could be linked to TradingView. So you use a TradingView and its chart functionalities, but in reality, you're moving your own account. And one day, it would be crazy if Robinhood becomes good enough that potentially you can even touch like other brokers, but using this interface. But that's probably not what they are they're willing to.
So that's a big deal to me. Right, that's a big deal. Because when I saw them do that demo live, I was impressed by that when they like bought Tesla live, and I was like, okay, this is cool. But in the back of my head, I thought, wait a second, like I feel like you can do that from other apps. So like when they bought Tesla, I was like, okay, it's a very sleek way to buy Tesla. Like it's by just drawing the box for the limit price. But I didn't see that as an innovation. If that's true, which multiple people are confirming in the chat, that you cannot trade on Schwab and Fidelity, the major brokerages, on TradingView right from the chart, then the question then becomes, okay, literally the question becomes, is the charts on this new desktop trading app good enough for someone to switch? Because the biggest thing that when I talk to Schwab and Fidelity people when it comes to using Robinhood, they're like, it's a kid app, right? It's like too basic. It's too it's childish, right? Like they want something more professional. So they use Schwab for filling their orders, which they never love the experience on that, but it just feels more safe, right? Because Schwab is a big company. And then TradingView to track the actual charting of the stock. If Robinhood can reinvent their brand as a brand that is as secure as Schwab and Fidelity, which will take time, it's not going to happen overnight. But if they can do that, and the incentive is, hey, if you come over, we're going to give you 1% on your $1 million. So we're going to give you 10,000 for free. So that already is a hell of an incentive. And then number two, we have this brand new trading platform with charts that do look beautiful. I mean, based on what we looked at for the past hour, these charts do not look ugly at all. And it's very sleek, very Apple-esque in terms of the user experience, even though I am not the best user for this experience because I'm not an active trader. And you can trade right from the chart. I do think that's a pretty big deal. Like that, if I was an analyst, before I write my report after this event, I would like really consider what that means for broader adoption. Because if that is a key differentiator that can bring people to the platform, you're talking about multi 7 to 8 figure accounts that now don't think of Robinhood as just this kiddie little app. They have a sophisticated 7-screen setup looking at all this shit. And when they want to do their active trading, they can just draw this little box and boom, they trade right on the chart. Which seems to be pretty cool.
I think to me, like they made great steps. They're not convincing enough.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. And again, both Arnie and I are not super active traders, so we're trying to figure out what is the reason people would come to the platform. That is the first argument I've got from people right now. The first argument I've got from people right now, Robinhood 2765 after hours, is trading, because so many people when they're doing trades, they're trading based on the chart. Like they're literally trading between pennies. You know, the active traders are buying 50,000 shares of Tesla at 220 and they're selling it at 220 and 50 cents and they're pocketing that difference. And to do that, if you have a chart that is very user friendly and minute by minute, you can see the candles, place your trade, get out, sell, buy. That's going to be a lot of trading volume for Robinhood. And then the question is going to be, do people enjoy that experience? So that's one differentiation. I got to do a lot more research on this event and see if there's other differentiations, but at least that's one that I've been able to come up with. So
I mean, one thing that we didn't see that is really important for business. We talked a lot about the chart, the order, the dashboards and stuff. Can you show me how it looks to put orders on options? Because that's personally something I've never seen on a desktop app done well. On interactive brokers, the user experience to buy, sell options is really awful. On mobile, it sucks as well. But I never seen like a pro desktop app for trading, how it encapsulates also the option side, which for the business of Robinhood, it really moves the needle in terms of like transaction revenues. I think it's like 1/3 or even more. Let me set it right.
Yeah.
But options, it's like half of the transaction revenues come from options. So
it seems pretty simple. So if you see my screen, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Palantir. Can I delete one of these? Let me delete this, delete widget. Oh, that's another thing. Maybe when you delete a widget, the rest of the screen should kind of customize. But okay, so like this is options below. Let's say I go to a leap, right? I go to January 2027, right? I click that. This is the flow. You guys can see it below on the bottom. Let's say I want to buy a $60 call. So there's your bid, there's your ask. If I click on the bid, Arnie, you see that right here?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I clicked on a put, but if I wanted to buy a put for $60,
mm-hmm.
that's what it would look like. If I wanted to buy a
there are no advanced functionalities here, right? Like the option simulator.
No, not that I'm seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm seeing right now. But right there, if I want to buy a call, $13, so it'd be $1,300. If I press buy Palantir call, it's not going to fill because it's after hours anyway. But it seems pretty simple. I mean, the desktop version of it on the current Robinhood app is also very, very simple as well. But this one is just in a press of a button. Mm-hmm. You get this little thing that pops up and then boom, you interact with it.
Because now I'm looking at, I'm thinking you with TJ trying to show what you're doing with this desktop app, wondering if you would be encouraged to use this app rather than just how you're doing right now.
Yeah, I agree. Because TJ and I sell a lot of options. So typically on the regular Robinhood platform right now, to sell an option, it is relatively simple, but it still requires some steps. So for example, if I go to Apple, this is the regular Robinhood platform, I press trade Apple options, and then I enter into buy, sell, call, put, expiration. Very simple. I want to buy a call Apple February 25th, $320. If I think it'll get there, I can pay 16 cents, $16, and then boom, I buy my long call. It's really simple. I mean, it's not that hard.
Can I say
from the legend perspective? What did you say?
Like a for this kind of use case, I prefer like this interface.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so for options, the people that are active traders, they're trading options within seconds. And I would imagine you need that bid-ask options chain, and you just need to press a button, and then you don't really care about your fill, whether you're not looking for the perfect fill, you're just looking to get in and then get out in the next couple of minutes or a couple of hours, right? So I imagine you just press one button, buy, fill, let that submit, and then you monitor it throughout the day whenever you're trying to sell. So we'll have to see kind of how. I think the big thing here, guys, is I'm not an active trader yet. Maybe in the next couple of years I'll be an active trader, but I'm not the best person to be the guy who's like using this and saying, "Hey, am I an active trader?" So I'm gonna have to bring people up onto the channel. I'll find a bunch of people outside of just Jason that are active traders and get them to like play with it and be like, "Hey, show me the Bollinger Bands and this and that." Like just like use it and see how intuitive it is for them. Because as an investor of the company right now, not an active trader, I need to figure out, are people like them going to use the app? Because if they are, then the stock's probably going to, do better and gain momentum. And that's what matters right now.
When you started Robinhood, you were definitely an average entry-level user, which was exactly what the platform was looking for. Now times have changed. You've grown a lot as a person, as an investor. And I wonder, how do you see yourself compared with the average trader on the platform?
So I think the one thing that has changed for me is I'm still a big buy and hold guy, but I sell options on the stocks that I buy and hold, whether that's covered calls or cash clear puts. And that already, I think, differentiates me from 99% of Robinhood users, because most of them don't sell options. The small percentage of them do. A lot of them either buy or hold, or they do these kind of YOLO bets, right? And I think the journey of 2024 for Robinhood has been, how do we get people that are doing more than buying and holding, because that doesn't create enough trading volumes? And how do we get people that are more sophisticated in their options bets and that are good at options, whether it's buying or selling options, so they can generate more assets under custody on the platform? Because the better they're at, the more the platform actually grows and the more engaged they are with the platform. So that would be my differentiation for most Robinhood users. But in terms of like buying a stock at 9:30 and selling it at 11:45, I don't do that. Not yet, right? Maybe that'll change over the next year or two, but that is the kind of core difference right here. People are saying you can use interactive brokers and Webull with TradingView. So that's fair. It seems like most people use Schwab and Fidelity, like the majority of people. So that's the one thing Robinhood will have over TradingView, is that you can trade right on the charts. Go ahead.
So you think you are already more sophisticated than the people they are now targeting?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like someone like Jason, who's like a Technical Tuesday, if you guys are, if you guys tune into the market close, he's much more sophisticated than I am in terms of understanding the dynamics of what it takes from a technical perspective for a stock to go higher or lower, and understanding the nature of the stock. So on a he's a great fundamental investor as well, but I am only fundamental. I am not technical at all outside of a couple metrics. The people that they're targeting are people that understand how to explain the relative strength index, the Bollinger Bands, the MACD in a very sophisticated way, right? And those are the people that have traditionally larger account balances because they're trading all day, right? They do it for a living. And if they do that for a living, then obviously, I think Jason uses Thinkorswim. I don't know if Jason switches from Thinkorswim to Robinhood. That's going to be a multi-million-dollar question. Does
What-
Jason switch from?
So what could be the thing that makes him switch, and one thing that could make him not switch?
I'm going to give him a call right now and see his Let's see if he picks up. Let's see if
Like, for instance, Chris, I would argue he's a pro trader. He uses Robinhood desktop or app, whatever. I wonder if he actually feels the need of Legend. So what I'm trying really to understand is who's the real user of this?
Jason can't pick up. Yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? What do you guys think in the chat? Are any of you pro traders in the chat? Can you? I know most of my audience is not super pro traders, but
because I'll tell you my experience from my broker. Like, my broker has a platform that they spend like years to build. Called now, like, they had this stuff called Power Desk. Like, let me show you like some pictures to so that you can visualize like Power Desk.
Jason uses Thinkorswim for trading. I don't know if he switches on this announcement, but if he does, then that's a big deal.
So this is a Power Desk from Fineco, which is like a platform that they spent like ages to build. This is the new version, Fineco X, but which is essentially the same stuff. And even if I had this stuff for free, my real experience was, okay, I'm using the platform exactly how, rather than using the sophisticated version, you simulated the purchase buy of the option from the simple web app. Just because it was simple. Okay, it looks better, it's simpler, let's go.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about simplicity in terms of the ease of use for a lot of these more sophisticated traders and seeing what they need to do. I think that's going to be the question. The next 2 weeks, the question is going to be, they have earnings coming up soon as well, the market's interpretation of how many people actually switch to this platform.
That also Sachin, I remember, uses Think and Swim. I would be very curious also of his perspective. Like, would Sachin switch to Robinhood due to this? I think that's the premise. Is not an incentive right now, because once you trade for a long time and you move millions, it is very hard to think, oh, now I use something else.
Yeah, I agree. If you've got a multi-million-dollar portfolio and you're actively trading, to switch, first of all, that 1%, or I think that 2% that they're giving now with the margin balance, that's that. I mean, look, if you've got $2 million and you get 20,000, I think that's definitely an incentive. But the other question is going to be the user experience. That's going to be important. In terms of TJ, I don't think TJ is going to use this for selling options, because as Arnie and I showed, the basic Robinhood platform for selling options is simple enough for what TJ does and what a lot of option sellers do, which is sell, put, strike, expiration, fill. I don't think you need, unless, and TJ's not a big technical guy, unless you're a seller of options by using technicals, which technicals play a role in selling options for sure, but it's not like the only thing, because you're not intra trading, right? You're doing weeklies or monthlies, most of the time 30, 45 days out. So you have a thesis on when to enter into this, the put or the covered call, and then you kind of just sell it, right? Versus like you need the exact minute by which the stock ticks to be able to initiate the trade. I don't think this would be something that's going to attract option sellers like TJ. It might. We'll see his reaction to it when he uses it. I think it's got to attract the people that are buying and selling in the hours of a day, right? That need something that's immediate to them. That's the most important thing. By the way, Vlad just said within the first 46 seconds, the 1,000 spots were filled.
Wow.
For the legend. Yo, thank goodness I was one of those people to think, because if I didn't have this thing, it would be really hard to analyze this. But yeah, thankfully we got it.
So one question for you. Essentially, the two big things of today were like futures. I don't think options on indexes are that big, or there are. So there are three things: options on index, futures, and trading app, the trading desktop app. Of the three, which one is the one that matters the most?
Oh, so this is what I was going to talk about. We got so sidetracked with the option with the desktop app. I think futures is a big deal, bro. I think futures is going to bring a lot of money because people trade futures. You don't have to be a super active trader to trade futures. Like you don't need like this like 7 screens to trade futures. Like the people that trade futures, I feel like it's becoming a little bit more normal, like the people that trade options, right? And at the end of the day, you have a limit price that you're willing to buy at and a limit price you're willing to sell at, and you're trading based on news. So if something big happens in the Middle East and you know that's going to mess up Bitcoin, there's leverage you can apply to Bitcoin futures. If there's the Saudis say that they're pumping oil at 2 a.m. and you know oil prices are going to tank in the morning, you start trading oil futures. I think that will bring over a lot of trading volumes. 50 cents a contract, 75 cents a contract, I think will be profitable. The question is going to be, and this is a real risk, how many people are going to lose their shit trading futures that don't know what the hell they're doing? Because, I mean, like we see all the Wall Street Bets photos of people buying a stock or buying options on Robinhood because it's so intuitive and they lose a lot of money. I think there will be some of that. And the question will be how much of that happens versus how much actual momentum and growth it brings.
I mean, futures are a very good way, if not used properly, to literally burn your account in no time.
Right. We got Dave right here from Dumb Money. Shout out to Dave. The 2% bonus is huge. As an advanced but not frequent trader, I am very tempted to move the Schwab account to Robinhood. Dave is someone who has been very successful in his life. If you guys don't know him, Dumb Money is the YouTube channel. He's sold multiple companies. I would imagine his portfolio is up there. And so 2% on his portfolio is definitely a hell of an incentive. The beautiful thing I think they're doing right here is that, you know, people are saying, why are they giving 2%, not 1%? It's because Dave, people like Dave, need to have a $10,000 margin balance to get that 2%. I think the 10,000 number is irrelevant. They just needed some number that wasn't super restrictive to be able to say, hey, we want people that are using margin. Because Robinhood increased their margin balances from 3.8 billion to 5.5 billion. They made $73 million off margin interest last quarter. I think that business, they're planning on that to become a $500 million ARR business. They're probably trying to do 100 million a quarter off of that over the next year. And to do that, they need people who are willing to pay the margin interest because they can effectively use margin because they have a lot of money. And when you have a lot of money, you can leverage margin in a very effective way. So I think that is a big thing. I think they're testing it out over the next 11 days to see how many people they can bring. That alone could push the stock higher because margin balances going up is going to be an incredible growth story for them. Even with their interest on cash going lower because the Fed is lowering rates. And then if they expand that to be like a multi-quarter incentive, like they have with the ACATS 1% match, I think that alone could bring a lot of active traders to the platform, which is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. A question for Dave, since you're here. If there was not this 2% bonus to move your asset, would you even consider moving the assets to Robinhood from what you have seen today?
Yeah, so Dave, the question here is if you didn't have, so Dave says right here, Robinhood's margin rate is great. It beats the negotiated rate I have with Schwab. So that's one thing. Then you got the 2% bonus. Dave, if you didn't have the 2% bonus right now, based on what you saw today with the charts and the futures and all that stuff, would you still feel a little bit of incentive to leave Schwab?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, you know, you realize how powerful something is when the incentive is low, but you still do it anyway because you're craving for it. But if you give me 2%, it's like, oh, you really need to encourage me to come here. But if the product is like so cool, it's like, I come for free. Let me use That's why I'm making this question.
Schwab and Fidelity don't have an active trader platform like Robinhood introduced today, right? Like
Schwab has Thinkorswim.
Oh, Thinkorswim, right? Thinkorswim. Okay, so Schwab is Fidelity. I'm not sure if they do, but that's why people use TradingView in combination with Schwab and Fidelity. Okay. Dave says yes, I would consider. I feel Robinhood has overcome the negativity from the GameStop debacle, their product is stable. That's another thing about Robinhood. In my comments the other day, I was reading, people are still a little afraid about the safety of the platform. And that's something where Robinhood's just got to build up the brand trust, because I feel very safe using Robinhood. I have most of my net worth in Robinhood, right? And I'm okay with that because I trust that the platform is going to keep it safe. I don't think they're going bankrupt, nothing like that. So if you got people like Dave that start to feel that they can trust many, millions of dollars onto the platform, I would imagine, then that's a big deal. And that's going to be important, like very important for their future growth, because they've got to grow AUC. And the reason AUC is up for Schwab, Fidelity, Robinhood over the past couple of months is because the market went up, right? If you got a bunch of people owning NVIDIA and NVIDIA goes from 50 to 150 or 130, whatever, your AUC is going to go up. What happens when we have a flat year for NVIDIA? How do you increase assets under custody? You've got to get more deposits. And the only way to get more deposits is to get people to leave their current platforms. Dave says, the level of service from Schwab is unbeatable. My person there came to my house with papers I needed for a vacation home purchase. So that's not going to happen on Robinhood anytime soon. Probably not. And customer service for people that have a ton of money, that's obviously one of the reasons they wouldn't switch, because that customer service is unbeatable. But for people that, don't care that much about the customer service and just want a real slick product and engage in active trading, and the 2% bonus, that's where we might get some more people coming in. Arnie, the stock, man, a lot of people have made a lot of money off this stock this year. This is a stock that, it's been one of those companies that you and I have been covering since $8. Now it's at $27.59 after hours. Do you think it's undervalued here? What do you think?
I don't see any sense of overvalued or undervalued, overvalued or undervalued screaming ones. It seems right now that given the current numbers, more or less, we are in the fair zone. There's a big if, which is something that you mentioned in the at the beginning of a stream, but I think is probably the most important thing, is the cost to run the business can stay more or less stable right now. So costs are fixed, but if we're able to keep gathering new assets, there is a very powerful operating leverage effect that can make the bottom line numbers explode. So how the business of Robinhood can keep growing by increasing the assets, by increasing the deposits, by making people trade more. All this convergence of things can make the numbers explode if we're able to keep the fixed cost steady as they've done in the latest quarters. So if the deposits keep increasing by 30, 40%, that is the natural progression towards which also the revenues should gradually go. And if you keep the cost fixed, you can have a very, very strong growth. Right now, the price, in my opinion, looks okay given the current numbers. But if some big changes happen in the market, some big volatility spikes happen, or the market just keeps getting more flows, that is structurally undervalued. And I think what is undervalued right now is the fact that right now the narrative is, Robinhood is not the trash company that we believed. It is actually a good company. I think the market is still not appreciating it as an alpha company that is essentially absorbing assets from all the other apps that were born in the 2020s, and the legacy players that are trying to innovate, but it is becoming clearer and clearer that we're not as good as Robinhood into understanding the audience that matters. I think this is let me share this stuff. But I think
while you're pulling that up, while you're pulling this up, also what's important is how the analysts are going to react to this. So the analysts have been very friendly to Robinhood over the past couple of weeks with upgrades. Is this going to be like a Tesla event where the analysts are like, it's whatever? Or is this going to be like, holy crap, upgrading it to like $35, $29. It's going to be one of those things.
I don't see substance enough to make an increase to like if I were having a fair target to the current price, I would not put 30. I would add $1-2 because it is showing that okay, we are expanding, we are capturing more sophisticated guys, but I don't see enough substance to say this stuff really moves the business in the next quarters. I think it helps, but it's not something that changes the direction, if you know what I mean. So
yeah,
I think the most important stuff is this. Like this is what Robinhood sees that essentially nobody else is seeing. There is a shit ton of money that is set to flow towards the younger generation from baby boomers and the silent generation. Like all these guys are gradually going to give more and more money to the generation X. And Robinhood is very focused into having like the youngest generation. So it's like, even if the next quarters are not explosive, like what I see with this company is seriously a structural secular tailwind where all the money gradually converges to the generations that are now studying, now entering the workforce, which are the ones that in 5-10 years will be like the major money makers.
Yeah, I think this right here. So for people thinking, hey, does Robinhood make sense as a long-term investment? I originally got into it as a trade because at $7, the market cap was less than the cash they had on hand, right? Like if there was any thesis, like it was a screaming buy. But over the past year, it has become a legitimate long-term thesis for me. And I think it will have dips because of the cyclicality of the business. If we get a bear market, we're probably going to have some less trading volumes and hard comps and all of that stuff that with any business, that any stock that happens. But when you think about the wealth transfer that Arnie's describing, $85 trillion is going to be passed from baby boomers onto millennial and Gen Z. My cousin here in India, she works in California in tech, and she's been getting into stocks as well. And so she said she wanted me to do a review of her portfolio. She showed me, she opens up Robinhood. She has like 60 grand in Robinhood. And I'm like, how much do you put into Robinhood? She's like, oh, I put $3 grand a month. I'm like, now she's getting paid well as a tech worker, right? So she can afford to like invest $3,000 a month into a brokerage app. But the fact that that's going to Robinhood out of all the platforms, because she's like, it's just the easiest to use. She's just buying and holding. Really, she's not even selling. That is where I see a lot of capital, because she's going to make a decent amount of money for the next 30 years, right? She's going to get promoted and get and bonuses, and all that money is going to go into Robinhood. So that itself, I think, is a macro tailwind that you only get if you have the strong user experience. The question becomes, how do they monetize someone like my cousin even more? And the 3% credit card is a good option. Active trader, she's probably not going to be an active trader for a while. So what's next?
I think that's the premise to take it all. Like where the Schwab, the Fidelity succeeded were in capturing the older generations that made money. But now Robinhood is capturing the audience that like the people that are just close to start making money. And there is one thing that Vlad mentioned in the early interviews is once you start using a broker for the first time, it takes a lot of mental friction to go to another platform unless you're really unsatisfied. You just keep using what you have been already using. And I see already like extreme examples. I have a friend from Belgium with the mother using ING, which is a platform that costs like 20, 30 euros to buy a share. There are no ETFs. Like it's awful, okay? Yet the mother doesn't want to change. And imagine all the generations of people acquired now that as your cousin not only start to earn, but in 10 years, they will earn a lot. And Robinhood, since it has all this tech infrastructure, they're able to understand the culture, understand the products. They can easily add more and more stuff like the robot advisor to help you manage the stuff. So rather than having like a personal wealth manager, you could potentially pay that percentage on assets, but with a robot advisor. Then you can have other services like financial services. Now we are talking about credit cards, but maybe Robinhood could go further into lending. Who knows? If you capture a relationship right now where the users are still cheap and early, then you can build a long-term relationship where like your cousin maybe costs like $50 to acquire as a user. But if she's happy with the platform, she generates like $2K per year to the platform.
And well, she's already paying $60 a year for gold, right? So already they're getting that money out of it. I agree with you, dude. This wealth transfer thing, I've been thinking about it a lot more. It's a big deal because you think of companies that are set up with macro tailwinds. Like, why is Palantir trading at 40 times price to sales? Because the macro has acknowledged that AI is a thematic tailwind. OpenAI is worth $150 freaking billion, and they're losing $5 billion a year right now. But investors don't care because they believe in that growth thesis. One of the big things that I've learned being in India is that India is growing GDP at 7%. The United States is about 2.5 to 3%. India is projected for the next decade to grow at 7% GDP. That's the fastest growing country on the planet. Is India expensive right now in terms of small caps and large caps? Yes. But where are you getting 7% GDP growth? You're not getting it anywhere else in the world other than a place that has 1.5 billion people. So when we think about macro tailwinds, are other companies going to do what Palantir's done with the ontology and then use that to make AI useful? Probably not, because Palantir's been working on that for 20 years for this moment, which is the market realizing that AI is a thematic that's going to last for a very long time. Mm-hmm. For Robinhood, you've got a founder, you've got best-in-class product in terms of at least product innovation. Even if you don't think they have the best product, they are definitely innovating the fastest. And then you've got this wealth transfer macro tailwind. So with Palantir, you got the AI tailwind. With India, you've got the GDP per capita tailwind that's growing the fastest in the world. Mm-hmm. And then for Robinhood, you've got trillions of dollars that are going to be passed down to people that are not going to want to put into Schwab or Fidelity.
Mm-hmm. So a big question for you. Like when you invest, you are assuming that the market is not really understanding something in the company you are investing in, because otherwise all the information would be already reflected in the price. So what is the thing that you see as an investor in Robinhood that the market has not understood yet?
You know, it's hard to say with a stock up 120% that the market hasn't understood anything. Which
with Palantir, I think you could easily say that. So let's start with Palantir. Just one sentence, but I think just to introduce.
Obviously, I think the market doesn't fully understand the value of the ontology right now. Okay. It's hard to say that trading at 40 times price to sales. So you could say the market's starting to figure out the value of the ontology. But with Hood, I think the market may be not fully understanding just how. Here's what I think the market doesn't fully understand. This was more true when it was like $7, $8, but I don't think the market grasped how important user experience was. Like as someone who personally has used Robinhood for 5 years, I don't think the market realized that when Robinhood was trading below the cash they had on their balance sheet, it wasn't just because of GameStop and 2022 and all that stuff. It was more so because they didn't realize people like me were just never good. Like I was down $50,000 in 2022. It was not a fun time, but I was down 50 grand on Robinhood. And I was not going to leave Robinhood to go be down 50 grand on Schwab. Like I was going to rebuild the portfolio from Robinhood. And so I think the market didn't realize that someone like myself, who my earning potential and my income goes higher with my age, all that money's going back into Robinhood because I love the user experience. And if that is true, I mean, Robinhood just announced they have retirement accounts of $10 billion. That's $10 billion of money, including my Roth IRA, that's going to be there for decades. That's not going anywhere, right? And so I think the market might not fully understand how much the user experience matters for Robinhood, along with the EBITDA multiples being at 15. If this was 2% interest rates, Robinhood growing at 40%, this would be a $50 stock, like tomorrow. Like 40% growth with this type of EBITDA multiple does not get the current valuation it gets unless you have interest rates that are competitive with equities at 5% with the federal funds rate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as interest rates come down and the growth continues, that's where the macro tailwind also helps Robinhood as well.
Mm-hmm. One thing that got me intrigued into Robinhood is that is a broker, but with the ambition of becoming much more than a broker. Do you think Wall Street shares this vision or just sees a broker?
No, I think Wall Street doesn't share the vision yet, but Robinhood wants to be more than a broker. So two things. Number one, there was this leak email that people that use Robinhood got of saying, hey, would you be willing to pay $10 a month for gold outside of $5 if we were to offer you competitive mortgage rates? So I think Robinhood is like they're finding a lot of different avenues that they can experiment in, and they want to become the go-to financial services app for every Gen Z millennial that uses any part of the credit card, brokerage app, active trader, whatever it is. They want you integrated into that ecosystem. Number two, I think they're going to be an AI powerhouse. I think when they incorporate real financial LLMs into this active trading product, and I'm actively trading and I can ask Robinhood GPT, hey, show me what Apple was trading at 3 years ago on this day because I want to make a correlation between this before the WWDC event, blah, blah, and I just get answers immediately. And then the charts reflect the answers. Like that type of, the only product that could ever do something like that is Robinhood. It's not going to be Schwab, Fidelity, SoFi, E-Trade. Like it's not going to be those companies. It's going to be Hood. The question is going to be how fast can they execute that and how important it is that in growing top line deposits and trading volumes.
Mm-hmm. But it's one thing that Vlad mentioned in one of the most recent podcasts, that so far Robinhood is very into retail investing, but he doesn't exclude potentially one day also to offer something to institutionals. Do you have any idea what he meant with that?
Yeah, the only extent of my analysis there is that they bought Bitstamp, which is a crypto platform, for $200 million, and I think they will be offering institutional trading licenses, or they already have licenses, but institutional trading mechanisms for clients that are not retail, because retail is the majority of the crypto volume. So that's one element of them serving institutions. The other part of Vlad's, so like basically Coinbase makes money off of like BlackRock using them as the custodian to buy the Bitcoin for the IBIT ETF. Robinhood's going to do something similar like that. It's not going to be the ETF, but it's going to be something that allows 50 countries worldwide, that's the number of licenses they have, to institutionally trade and buy and sell crypto, which should increase volumes. Second of all, Vlad has talked about tokenizing everything, just like Larry Fink has talked about tokenizing real estate and allowing all these different mechanisms for like buying a Manhattan real estate ETF, right? Based on tokenizing it. The financial infrastructure to tokenize something requires an incredible amount of innovation and institutional support of those assets. And that's something Vlad talked about a month ago on CNBC. I think that's another long-term vision that they're getting into. And so you've got all these tailwinds. You've got crypto, you've got institutionalization of assets, you've got credit cards, you've got active traders, you've got the broader wealth transfer. I mean, there's just so many things that have corresponded to this thesis that makes me feel going long at a $26 billion market cap with $5 billion in cash is reasonable.
Mm-hmm. With all these options around, like a wealth management, crypto, active traders, do you think they're sort of diversifying their efforts, diversifying their efforts, or they're actually making the right steps?
Yeah, I think you have to diversify. I think for too long, they were a meme trading app, and they got away with it in 2020 because interest rates were zero and the market went to the moon. But they've done a hell of a pivot as interest rates became competitive with equities, and they found a way to innovate, like legit innovate. The 1% match, 3% match, like all these things were just ideas they were testing here and there, getting a ton of data. Remember, this company's filled with PhDs in math, or Vlad almost got his PhD in math, right? But like, these are people that are very sophisticated looking at data. That's why I laugh when people are like, oh, it's like FTX, they're giving 3% back. Dude, like Steve Quirk, the guy who was on stage for the Futures presentation, this guy spent 25 years in the brokerage business. These are people that understand financial services very well. That doesn't mean they can't make mistakes, but it means they're looking at a shit ton of data before they roll out a product. And you got people saying, oh, they're not going to make a...
It doesn't mean they can act.
It doesn't mean what?
They can act properly, but...
Yeah. It doesn't mean they have to act properly, but it's just like in terms of the unit economics of making things work, you've got a lot of people looking at a lot of data making calculated decisions based on the overall growth of all the levers they can pull to potentially give you 3% back or a 1% or 2% match. And the fact that they're doing this 2% match for Robinhood week for the next 11 days, to me, it makes them, to me, that's them indirectly telling us, hey, Q3 earnings were fucking incredible because we can afford to give 2% upfront. You're not going to get that paid over 2 years. You're going to get, so if you have $1 million, you're going to get 10,000 tomorrow if you transfer, which means that's an expense for them. They can stomach that expense because they're seeing their growth. And number two is if they're doing the math and they're rolling out these products now, 85,000 credit cards, they wouldn't be rolling it out at the speed at which they're rolling it out. I know people think they're going slow, but 85,000 is not a small number. It's faster than a lot of other credit card launches. To reasonably say, hey, we can give people 3% back and we will make up that 3% in the variety of other growth levers we have to monetize that user. And I think there are a lot of smart people running this company. I don't think there's people that don't know what the fuck they're doing here. And that's another reason I like going long on them.
You know, when they launched the credit card, there were many discussions on, oh, this is a money-losing business already from the start. And we had some discussions. Then Vlad mentioned something related. Look, the way we look at this stuff is there is a percentage on the transactions that we can get as fees, and there is a percentage on the total transactions that we can make as an interest from the how you call it, like the margin of the credit card. How big do you think this credit card actually could be? Like, do you think this could be like a vector driver for the business growth, or that is something ancillary? Because, for instance, we see SoFi having launched a new credit card, but it's like, okay, who cares? How important is this credit card for Robin?
I think it's a big deal. I did a credit card valuation model with a guy who works in fintech, and he was really impressed with the rollout. And we kind of went through the numbers, and we were very conservative. And this is a business that's doing tens and tens of millions of dollars, eventually hundreds of millions of dollars over the next decade, just based on the amount of GMV they can get onto that credit card. The 3% cash back from Vlad's interviews, I've been told, is profitable because there's a 5 to 6% take rate on the credit card itself, but companies spend so much money on user acquisition that it bites into that 5 to 6%, which is why they can't give you 3%. It's always 1.5 or 2% on dining or 1% on travel or whatever. And it ends up being this like convoluted, not friendly experience versus just 3% cash back on everything. Because they've got customer acquisition solved, 1 million people on the wait list, boom, that's something that you don't have to worry about. I think the credit card's a big deal. I also think the credit card's a big deal. Forget just the revenue they can build from that. Right now, they're doing 25 million per year in revenue from the credit card. I think that can probably 2 to 3x next year. Is the user experience on using it daily. Like when you use your credit card daily, like I use my Chase card daily and I collect miles, like my relationship with Chase gets deeper and deeper. If I have to call them up and they see all my transactions, they're more likely to like listen to me because they've like I'm a pretty active user. So if you're using the credit card every day and then you're swiping some of that 3% cash back right back into your brokerage, and that's increasing net deposits, like the actual ecosystem of this company being one of the most important in financial services over the next decade. And again, it doesn't need to be bigger than Schwab. It's 20 billion in market cap. We're looking for 100 billion, 5x over the next decade. I would be very happy with a $100 billion Robinhood stock. Do they have the tailwinds to get there and then the speed of innovation to get there? And I think they do. I think the credit card just another way to prove that.
Why are not using the Robinhood credit card?
I don't have it yet. Not approved yet.
Wow. So even for the ones that they gave like the gold card is still not approved to use. So they're rolling out very slowly. Because you were, I think you were one of the first guys who had the referrals needed to be approved, right?
Yeah, the problem is I think they're doing this geographically as well. And like I got an email once saying like it's just not available in my area right now. So I'm okay with that though. I don't want them to give me a credit limit and then in a month be like, hey, we have to go to 2.5% because we miscalculated because too many people, blah, blah. Like I want them to be very slow, look at the data, make sure the unit economics make sense. 3% sustainably is a new thing. No one's ever done that before in terms of cash back. For that to work and make a shitload of money over the next decade after taking some years of losses because they got so many people integrated into it, it needs to really work, especially when rates come down, right? And it can't just be a gimmick that, rates will come down. All right, we're sorry, guys, the Fed cut rates. We're back to 2%. Like, you can't do that. That's going to be a horrible user experience if they do that. As Wong says, they're managing risk. And I think that's the most important thing. So Josh says right here, user experience will suffer if they take a long time to roll out the card or other features like tax lots. I disagree on the card part, because where are you going to go to get 3%? I think this is why they're so slow. There's no opportunity cost. If you have to wait even 2 years, which I hope no one has to do, but let's say you have to wait 2 years for the 3% credit card. If no one comes out with a 3% cash back, even in 2 years, if they're like, hey, you're off the list, you're probably going to switch because no one else is giving you 3%, right? And I think they know they have that. Unless someone comes out, unless Capital One tomorrow is like 3% on everything, then they're in trouble because you got a lot of people in Capital One that are already there. They're not going to switch, right?
I assume for instance, your mother is not on Robinhood. Would your mother interested into making Robinhood just to use the card?
She uses Robinhood. She uses the trading app.
Okay.
So my mom does use it. But yeah, the credit card will be big for her. My mom spent, she's been shopping. We've been in India for what, 11 days? She shopped 5 out of the 11 days. So she's been spending.
Tell me someone that likes to use a credit card but is not on Robinhood. Do you think he would be encouraged to use this Robinhood?
Yeah, I think that
Robinhood.
The TAM is the whole world. Like, let's just assume America. The TAM is America. America uses credit. Like, America doesn't run on Dunkin'. It runs on credit, right? That was a good one. You guys got to give me credit. Off the top of my head, that was a good one. So if America runs on credit, 3% cash back is literally the most attractive thing in America, in my opinion. So and then it's a question of, all right, if you get 3% cash back and Robinhood says, hey, open up a brokerage account, do that many people start using the brokerage, right? Like, I think all of it comes together. Dave says, I have a functional card. 3% beats all non-category spend cards. It's amazing. I will use it for all my everything else category spend. I game the card system and aim for 4% on average. There you go.
Because let's say if you spend like 30K per year in expenses and you have like a 3% like a cashback, and that becomes like Apple stocks, Palantir stocks, whatever. Like, that is essentially like buying everything at 3% discount.
Correct.
It's like starting the year already having like a 3% bonus. And bonus after bonus, like these Robinhood investors can have like a big advantage.
Yes, I think it can give you a big advantage. I think you can get a big bonus. And I think, again, you're swiped into that ecosystem. And once you're there, it's hard to get out of it. Someone says, if you plan on a house, Rocket Mortgage has 5% cash back you can use on closing costs. I mean, think about this. If the 3% unit economics on credit cards works, and we already know Robinhood's thinking of giving people mortgage loans in a very, very beta stage based on the leaked emails we've seen. What if they do something like Rocket Mortgage, where you get 5% cash back or 3% cash back on closing costs for a mortgage loan, right? Like, I think because they're a tech company, like an actual tech company, not a bullshit tech company, a real tech company with 90% of their costs that are fixed, which is the beauty of investing in technology, because then you have exponential growth with 80 to 90% gross margins on fixed operating expenses. If they can do that and bring this match model to other verticals, I think they just deepen their relationship with me when I get my first house, hopefully in a couple of years. And Robinhood wants to give me the mortgage and they give me a cash. Like, there's so many ways to deepen that relationship and monetize me for the rest of my life. That's going to increase the top line revenue.
What SoFi is willing to do, but
yeah, I mean, look, SoFi, I think lending is going to be good for SoFi. I don't think they have the technology that gets people excited. Like, SoFi has not hosted a single event like Robinhood in the past couple years, right?
SoFi is that kind of company that makes the stuff is not able to make people excited of the stuff. It's like there is not one thing like the credit card, like for Robinhood, is a thing. With SoFi is just something a bank needs to have.
Yeah, SoFi doesn't care that much about the user experience because they make their money off lending, and that's driving the revenues, right? And the Galileo B2B tech side of the business. I think that's not the best thing in the world, but at the end of the day, if the users are fine with not having an incredible experience like Robinhood has, which SoFi is not really a brokerage, so I get it. Like that's not something to get upset at them about. But if the investing app is like the core thesis to like getting people into their ecosystem and that app is lacking, then that's where you have some issues. But granted, if it's all about loans, then it's based on banking metrics and interest rates, where Robinhood's based on actual innovation. And that's what also gets, if I'm a tech investor, if I'm a growth stock investor, and I want real growth, again, Robinhood has grown 40% for the past 2 quarters. This third quarter, they're probably going to grow 40% again. That's growth that you just don't see in easily in the financial services area. And I think that's what Robinhood's providing.
For the credit card, I really wonder, like, if someone is completely out of trading, out of Robinhood, if this person would be interested into becoming a Robinhood user just for the credit card. Like, I think if you can answer that question, please try to investigate with people around. I think the credit card alone could be like a very big driver, because once you have the account, you start getting like the first stocks in reward from a cashback. You say, oh, I like having shares that move up and down. Let's put more money in. So that could become like so far we have been thinking of the credit card as a way to monetize existing users. I think we haven't really thought of the credit card as a way to capture users. Yes, I agree. And again, it's because they haven't rolled it out to a lot of people, right? But the rollout of that credit card, I imagine, I think that's a really important user acquisition strategy, especially getting people into their trading ecosystem. I mean, the interchange fees on credit cards alone should be something that makes that user profitable. So that's like, because SoFi gets a user by giving them a loan, and then boom, you got all this other stuff, right? Robinhood gets you through investing, and then maybe the credit card one day, and then introduces you to the suite of products that they have. But like, I see them as a small company that is like disrupting everything. And because they're disrupting everything, this year has been a classic case study of disruption in business via innovation in tech. It just seems like there's going to be a lot of momentum over the next decade. Dave right here says you have to have Robinhood Gold to get the card. The card drives new account signups. One thing that's really interesting is they didn't say you had to be a gold member to access this Legend desktop app, which I was very surprised by. They said it's free for everybody, right? And I mean, I kind of like that, because that means that I think the people that they think are going to use this product, they don't give a shit about making $5 a month from them, right? Because they're going to bring over so much money. So I don't think they want to even have that barrier to entry. But that is very interesting that you've got to be this, like, you don't have to be this elite gold member at $5 a month to access the product. Any thoughts on the logic behind that? I appreciate what you said. Like, I didn't think about that angle. Maybe that is something they want to deploy later for gold.
Yeah. They're going to increase gold prices eventually, but I think for active traders that are bringing over millions of dollars, they don't give a shit about getting $5 a month from them. Right?
Well,
so that's probably why.
I could say something. No, that would be against the company. I was thinking if you bring more than 1 million, you don't pay for gold. But I think that's anti-Robinhood, because the idea of Robinhood is exactly, regardless of how big you are provided the same stuff.
Make it accessible, right? Dave says if you're using Legend, you'll want to subscribe to Gold merely for the lower margin rates. That's why I think they're giving that 2% on a 10K margin balance. Like 10K is irrelevant. It could have been at 5K, 20K. They just needed a number to get people that have margin, because they know if you have margin, you're going to pay for margin from Robinhood at much lower rates. A lot of people probably don't even know that Schwab offers 12% and Robinhood offers 6%. Most of the market, most active traders probably don't even care about what Robinhood offers, right? Until they get a bonus like 2%, and then they figure that out. So I think that's very important. As Dave says right here, gold is $50 a year, a rounding error for $1 million account holder. 100%.
But if that guy with 1 million then becomes a gold and starts using the card, that is a lot of money that starts circulating around.
Agreed. I think this was a pretty amazing event. Tomorrow, we'll see how the market opens. I will be back to the market open tomorrow, guys. So I will be back for the market open. I'm sorry I haven't done the past couple of days, but tomorrow and Friday, I'll be back. 27.46 on overnight trading. Is it a sell the news? Look, I could see it selling off back to 25. I kind of think that's the max pain because the valuation continues to get stupid as it comes down. Given all the growth trajectories they've laid out, given the earnings that's coming up, and given obviously the broader market doing well. I could also see this thing jumping up to 28.50. I mean, we saw it jump up to 28.30 at one point, and then, people take profits. It sells off after hours is volatile. If the market interprets this as a growth lever, then I think the stock can potentially continue.
What is your fair reaction?
My fair reaction is very important product announcements, setting up the next leg of growth going into 2025. Much needed before earnings to have a catalyst on top of good numbers and earnings. So I think earnings is going to be good. Very important to bring over people with a lot of money because you don't want to see deposits slow down. I mean, one of the reasons people were depositing into Robinhood was for a 5% APY. That's probably going to go down to 4.25% after the Fed cuts again. So you need an incentive to people to bring over money. I think this platform plus 2% margin balance thing is that incentive, which will help Q4 deposits. And then the only critique I would have is that I am not an active trader, so I don't fully understand the user experience, which means I need to get educated on that. I don't like the fact that I can't stack tickers on top of themselves like Webull, but that's a small nitpicky thing that I think will eventually evolve. So my biggest issue now is I've got to talk to as many active traders as possible. If you are on Twitter, please please DM me if you're an active trader and let me know, what you interpret of this. And I want to talk to like hundreds of active traders over the next couple of weeks and see if people are actually switching.
Mm-hmm. So
because that will give me an update on if this is successful or not.
Okay, so what is the fair price movement you would give?
I think it goes to 25 tomorrow on a sell the news, or 28.50 tomorrow on a buy the news. I don't think 30 tomorrow. I think we get 30 after earnings. Earnings have to be really good, and the macro has to hold up, which so far has been all right to get 30. I do think 30. My price target was 25 for the end of the year. We're beyond that, so my new price target is closer to 30. I think that's possible. I think tomorrow ranges from 25 on a sell the news to 28. It's been showing incredible strength in terms of the actual stock holding above 25. And second of all, the dark pool activity has been ridiculous. If you're going through on my Twitter, hundreds of millions of dollars of dark pool $25 calls for 2026 and just spot equity at $23, $24. Someone bought $46 million worth of it at $23. It seems like people knew that the growth was going to start to increase, along with insiders. We had one insider sell 200,000 shares, but Kathy Wood sold 1 million shares, and then Bullfrog Capital, which was a longtime holder of Robinhood, they still own like 50 million shares. They sold 4 million shares. So you have like 5 million shares of selling in one day on Monday, and the stock was still up like 12%. Mm-hmm. That to me is saying that new buyers have stepped in. They don't really care about 25, 26, 27. They're ready to buy because they see a much bigger story here. And now it's just a question if earnings growth is going to be big enough to justify them getting in at some elevated levels from what we saw earlier in the year. And then if the market, S&P, can we get to 6,000? Bitcoin, can we get to 100K? Like these catalysts are still contingent on Robinhood as well. But if that happens, I think that can obviously be beneficial. All right, Dave says, glad you're back on the market duty, Mitt. It was fun hanging with you guys. Have a good night. Thank you, Dave, for being here. It is a good morning for me, so I'm going to get out of here.
It is a deep night for me.
Yeah, it's like, what, 2 a.m. for you, Arnie? It's
3:15.
3:15, 7 a.m. for me. For all of our international folks, good morning if you're not in the States. And yeah, this was fun. I think it was a big event, exciting. We'll see how the market reacts. I'll be live for the market open tomorrow. And we'll keep going from there. So on the market open, I'll talk more about what's been going on over the past couple of days and kind of analyze the macro and stuff. We'll see what happens with Robinhood and how the market kind of interprets this event. But I think it was successful. I think it was good. And now it's up to the company to get active traders to adopt the platform.
Look, tomorrow, please try make the market open with this new platform so that you can have like another round of feedback. And
yeah,
also the feedback from the audience.
Yeah, we're going to have to see because I definitely don't think I'm going to be able to figure it out in a day. But also this UI on the side of the screen by not being able to easily see the tickers, that's also one thing that I think. But I'll definitely pull it up and see what people think of it And maybe they like it more than Webull. And if people like it more than Webull already in this current state, then we can start using it. But I think that's going to be the biggest barrier in terms of my ability to understand what the platform is. Yeah. Arnie, real quick, because we haven't talked about Palantir in a while. Give me 2 minutes. Palantir down 4 or 5%, down from 44 to 41. Just what are your raw thoughts on
all the action? Twitter is suddenly convinced now that Palantir is a bubble. And it doesn't need to take a genius to realize that the valuation is actually expensive at 30x sales, 80 more EV free cash flow. But it's fair to say it is expensive. And when something becomes expensive, you have volatility because people say, oh, we are in green. Essentially, all Palantir investors are in green. And on the other side, you have bears that are just, oh, Palantir is overvalued, Palantir is a bubble, blah, 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 blah. But isn't it similar to what we saw at the bottom where people were saying, oh, Palantir is a trash, Palantir is overvalued, and stuff like that. But essentially, no one really tries to match the price with what is currently really going on with the real story of the business. Because if someone said, look, I'm aware of the Palantir story, I'm aware of the product, I'm aware of how good they're making on the business side, yet I don't believe the company is set to grow this much for this reason, this other reason, and this other reason, I could say, okay, it's worth listening to your opinion because you made me understand that you realize that the potential is there, but it's too much what is currently priced in. But when a lot of people that don't really understand the business at a granular level as us, just scream overvalued here, overvalued there, bubble here, bubble there, that makes me think we are in a situation similar to what NVIDIA faced, where the multiples were high, but only if you understood the dynamic of a business, you realized that the business is benefiting from a real paradigm shift. And I believe Palantir is still in this paradigm shift that started last year, and we are just at the beginning of it. A simple.
So Arnie, Arnie, what if someone pushes back and says everything you're saying is bullshit? 30 times price to sales is ridiculous. You can talk about paradigm shit. You can talk about AI. You can ontology. It doesn't fucking matter. You cannot be paying $95 billion for a company barely doing 500 million in profits. What is your response to that in regards to the stock price?
Well, it is true based on the past. It is true that the multiples are expensive given the analyst expectations. Yet there are two things. Analysts have been proved wrong and more wrong on understanding the company business, apart from very rare exception. See Tenev, see Mariana. But the average analyst has been very wrong on understanding the company. And the analyst estimates in general are still stuck to the estimates that we saw 2 years ago. Like more than 1 year ago, the story was completely different. Like there is literally Palantir before AAP and Palantir after AAP. If you think Palantir after AAP, but is currently growing at 25, 27%, ex-SPACs already at 30%, is set to decrease speed at this point, I think you don't fully capture the story. Because it's not only that Palantir is growing while the entire industry of SaaS is still withdrawing. Palantir is that company, that single company, that is delivering what everybody is talking about, which is AI agents. But so far, no one else, apart from Palantir, has actually shown real evidence of big business value unlocked thanks to AI agents. I think Sham, in the latest CNBC interview, where in the first minutes, he immediately said, look, we deployed 78 agents for this very, very big US insurance. And the underwriting process, which is not like a marginal business side for the insurance. Like that is definitely a core business. If your underwriting time goes from 2 weeks to 3 hours, that is a nothing 100x improvement in your core business. How do you improve your business? With AI, and Palantir shows that at scale with big customers. So I think what we will see in the earnings call will be what Sham did in this first minute, but reiterated, underscoring, okay, everybody says this is what we have done for this client, this other client, and this other client. Meanwhile, you have the Salesforce of the world saying, oh, yes, we deploy AI agents for everything you want to do. Yes, but what's the value? Can you quantify the value of your one agent to the big scale of the enterprise? Because that's the point.
Right.
There are companies that provide tools, but there is Palantir providing value, quantifying that value in relationship to the core business of that company. So I believe despite the company is expensive per se on the current multiples, the current multiples reflect estimates that are still relatively low and stuck to pre-AAP, while the business has completely changed, which means if estimates increase, the profit margins expected increase, the multiples completely change. And in terms of story, it is only now that on the ontology started being appreciated, Palantir as an AI company started being appreciated. And I personally believe that rather than seeing a decelerating growth, we will see a feedback loop that reinforces the growth. The brand Palantir has right now is at least 5x stronger than the brand it currently had last year at the beginning of the year. Now it is in the S&P 500, it's crazy profitable, and it has already a lot of big clients showcases for them, which means in aggregate that the friction to get the marginal client are heavily reduced. So how valuable is that?
I agree. I agree with everything you said. I think we're entering a new paradigm shift. The market is underestimating, or the people calling it a bubble are underestimating how important that paradigm shift is and how much growth they can have. From a numbers perspective, look, I think a lot of people want to be the knight in shining armor of calling the top on Palantir so they can laugh at people when Palantir has a pullback, which is probably inevitable because every stock has pullbacks eventually. I don't think unless we see a 50% drawdown that this run to 44 has been a bubble. Because like otherwise, what's a bubble? Like is a 25% drop a bubble? Because that's ridiculous. No, obviously not. Like when Palantir went from 45 to 6, obviously at 45, Palantir was in a bubble, but the whole market was in a bubble. So if we see Palantir go from 44, if it topped out at 44 to around 26, 27, then I can say, yes, the run from 27 to 44 was based on irrational hype momentum of buying, given that Palantir is the only stock that follows 50% and not the broader market, because if the broader market follows, then the whole market was in a bubble, which is a totally different situation. But if we don't get back to that mid 25 to 30 range, call it 25 to 29, that's like an actual technical 50% drawdown, then I think it would be a pullback, right? Mm-hmm. From to 35, that's a 25% pullback. To 30, that's looking at closer to a 38, 37% pullback. Those are pullbacks that happen in stocks throughout the history of every single stock that has exponential gains. But Tesla at $1 trillion in 2021 was a bubble because it just didn't justify $1 trillion at the time. And we saw a 60% drawdown. We've been having this debate on is Palantir Tesla in 2021. I don't think it is. If we fall back into the 20s, I was wrong. And it was a bit bubblish as we ran up to 44. I do think that the growth they're going to put up, along with the market sentiment around AI, along with every dollar we go down, there's going to be dip buyers that are going to get really excited to buy Palantir at 33, 34, 35, because when you look at Palantir and you think it's a $500-600 billion company, buying it at 30 versus 40 doesn't make that much of a difference. I think that's going to continue the momentum. But all of this is based on Q3 earnings. If Q3 earnings sucks, then the stock run up to 44, even with S&P inclusion, was a bubble. If Q3 earnings is at least 30% or more, I think we're not in a bubble.
Two simple questions. One, is the AI momentum decreasing?
I mean, with dude, the amount of articles I've seen this week of companies getting ridiculous, or crazy valuations for like barely having a company. We in our group chat, right? You've seen some of these random AI agent stock raise $100 million. If these guys are getting this much money, it means there is so much liquidity that's looking for AI growth, and all of them are going to realize Palantir is the actual answer. And I think if that's the case, then Palantir is going to show the growth.
My second question was, okay, you are a fund manager in public markets. What are your alternatives?
You can't just buy NVIDIA, dude. You can't just justify buying NVIDIA. It's just like you got to have new ideas. And NVIDIA is useless unless there's software to justify the GPUs. We've said this over and over again. It's not Datadog. It's not ServiceNow. It's not Snowflake. It's not Intuit. It's not. Maybe it's Salesforce. We'll see how their numbers turn out, right? Salesforce has to show agents, or Agent Force is actually growing top line results. If it's Palantir, then it's just a stock that's going to be expensive for a long time. And I think a lot of the people that are saying it's a bubble are going to be very humbled. Either we're going to be humbled, Arnie, you and me, when it goes back to 25, like, oh, but I think in that humbling, we're going to buy more shares, right? As long as there's not like a crazy thesis breaker. Or these people that are shorting it on Twitter are going to claim victory when it goes to 35. And it's like, okay, so a stock fell 20%. Mm-hmm. Congrats. But for the people calling a top, you need to, or a bubble, you need to see a drawdown back to 25. If we don't get there, I don't think it's a bubble.
I mean, it is easy to call bubble here, bubble there, but as I tried to provoke last week, it's like, okay, don't talk. Like, are you sure about having this strong opinion? Act on it. I would be interested into your reaction, like to this as a last thing, like exactly on the topic. Can you share the screen? Like, what's your reaction into seeing that a post like this? Palantir is a big bubble just waiting to pop. I don't think people actually understand how expensive it is at 39x. But it's not the post per se that captured my attention. Like, okay, fine, like just another one. But these numbers, like 1,000K likes, but with mine also.
Yeah, I was about to say, Arnie, are you cheating on us liking this post? No, I'm just kidding.
And 400,000 people looking at this stuff, 300 comments. And it's also like, wow, like everybody is so convinced. What's your reaction to this?
For Matt in the chat who says, bro, why is Amit rocking back and forth? It's because I do blow. That's why I rock back and forth. Number two, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I have ADHD, whatever it is. I like this because that means a lot of people think that it's a bubble. And that means, again, just like the market this year, people have been so willing to call a top and the market has just gone higher because there's so much fear in the market. I think same thing with Palantir. If there's this much fear that at $44, which me and Arnie are both saying it is expensive, but if there's that many people saying, oh my God, it's going to collapse back to 20, then that means the group think the herd is following one side. And usually you want to go the opposite of the herd.
Mm-hmm. Okay. For instance, I was also impressed by this post. I made the poll. Palantir is a bubble. And out of 1,600 votes, 35% said bubble, 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 bubble. What's interesting about this? That my audience is very, very Palantir-centric. So you would expect like a very big hell no. Yet 35% bubble, bubble, bubble means that probably if you remove the bias from the Palantir audience, there are literally a very, very big number of people pointing to, hey, Palantir is a bubble.
So two things. Number one, I need to record you saying bubble, bubble, bubble and make it my ringtone because there's just something beautiful about listening. I'm enamored by it right now. Number two, I agree. You and me both know retail that have messaged us saying, hey, they're taking profits, which is fair. The stock goes up 150% in a year, you're going to take profits. So your audience, that's mainly retail, same with my audience. Some of them are probably saying bubble because they're taking profits and they're saying, hey, this is like getting a little bit bubblish right now, which again is fair to say. The problem is no one wants to actually put their foot in the ground. So for example, this guy who's shorting Palantir under my post today, he said, I'm short Palantir. I was like, okay, so where do you think it's going to be in a year? He was like, it'll be from 18 to 35. And I was like, what type of short like seller are you? Like actually have some conviction here. Because if it goes to 35, a 25% drawdown, newsflash, is not a bubble. That happens in the stock market. Stocks go down by on average 20 to 30%. But to say it's going from 18 to 35, to me, he's trying to like save himself from sounding like an idiot if it never gets to 18 by saying this obscure range that covers a lot of numbers. It's just like, this is stupid, right? I think a lot of people are afraid to legitimately say that it's going back down to 20.
And let's short something with a 25% upside, like in this case downside, to while getting a possibility of getting screwed at an infinite level. Very smart.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like because with short selling, obviously, if the stock doesn't go the direction you want to go, your max loss is infinite, right? And so the short float has increased, though. I don't know if people saw this post I put on Twitter. By the way, if you guys are still here, thank you 300 people for rocking with us. Let me put Arnie's Twitter right here in the chat. If you haven't watched the video that Arnie and I did on my channel last week, it's the last video on my channel. It's the Italian investor who went all in on Palantir, so please make sure to check that out. The short float is up 45% in the past 2 weeks. So the short float is still only 4.5% of the company, but the growth of the short float is up. What is your perspective on that, Arnie?
Well, I think Keith mentioned that. Like, be ready when the stock goes up that you will be like completely surrounded by bears that will start roaring here and there. But I would say, at the end of the day, if money keeps flowing into the AI theme, Palantir keep showing business momentum, that only helps the liquidity of the stock. So good to see. Yep. Like if we invert this 5% percentage float is additional future buyers of the stock if the stock keeps going up, because they will be forced to buy.
Right. I agree. And look, you're going to get more shorts when a stock goes up 150%. Shorts are going to start coming in. The question is going to be, can Palantir show the growth on Q3 earnings to justify the shorts being wrong? For the people in the chat asking about valuation models, our good friend Amir has done one of the best valuation models ever on Palantir. So the video is in the chat for anyone who's curious about like a really in-depth 30-minute DCF understanding Palantir. This valuation model linked in the chat should be something that is valuable for people. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go sleep for the next 5-6 hours. I'll be back at 7 p.m. my time, or sorry, 6:15 my time, 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the market open. We're back in action Thursday and Friday, officially back in the studio with the brick wall that's real in the background next Monday. So I land in New Jersey at 6:30 on Monday. So I don't know if the market open will happen on Monday. Definitely the market close. But Tuesday next week, we officially get back on schedule. And I think we have Tesla earnings on Wednesday. So as soon as I get back, we're gonna get started with our regular scheduling. The one more thing that Vlad talked about is an audience giveaway. So it's not any new product announcement. The one more thing that Vlad announced at the end of the stream, that's probably some goodies they gave away to the audience there. Arnie, thank you. I appreciate you spending almost 4 hours with me. Means a lot, brother.
My pleasure. As always.
All right. Have a good one, guys. We will see you. Oh, by the way, last thing, Arnie, I forgot to mention. Earnings, one more thing. Earnings is right before the election. Any thoughts on them doing earnings right before the election? I mean, the election's already going to be volatile. You think it's not a big deal?
Nah, but they will be fun days.
Yeah, I think any company trying to protect their Q3 earnings from the election,
try to make it before.
Yeah, but they can't do it because even if your earnings is a couple days before the election, once the election happens, every stock's going to be, so it's like, I guess Palantir is just like, let's just do it right before because we can't really do anything about it. If the stock falls 50%, they can blame the election. So if the bubble pops, we'll blame the election.
I think the important is just not to be in the same day, because let's say you are the management. Every earnings call is an opportunity to tell your story.
Yeah.
And you want a day at least where people can talk about what you do. And I think this real story that management will try to push, if we also think what Sham said, is the narrative of AI agents. I'm very convinced that is where they want to point the narrative on, because if you look a little bit from podcast all around VCs, SaaS, like they are all about AI agents. They all talk about that, but the reality is, as I mentioned previously, they all talk about theoretical stuff, but no one is really talking about like real use cases deployed by these AI agents. So that's an insane opportunity for the management to show that, hinting about DevCon, which is happening, you know better than me when. I don't remember now.
I think sometime in November, but they're going to be able to broadly explain their vision. I agree. Look, if they grow 30 to 35%, I don't think the stock has to go to 50, but I think the momentum on that number can take it to 50. I think it would at least justify 40 if we grow 30 to 35%. The problem is the election could screw up everything, or it could take everything higher, and we just don't know what's going to happen. So regardless of what they grow at, the election will have whatever impact.
I mean, look, the election screws up a potential rally. Okay, fine. Like that's a buy opportunity. I don't see the problem. I see a problem if we go to 15% growth. Like that would be a problem.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back for the market open. Appreciate you guys. And thank you, Arnie, for joining. We will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.